the supreme dragon of the era of Tamers. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 176, Changji Crisis. The once thriving Chengdu mountain has now become lifeless. All creatures living on this mountain have died, even the rivers have dried up, and the stones have turned into gravel, a completely dead scene. Even the majestic energy that used to permeate the entire mountain has become extremely thin in a short period of time, and has become a vacuum zone of source power, a dead zone where ordinary people cannot survive. Boom! After Bailuo moved towards the direction of Chang Market, the devastated Chengdu mountain finally couldn't withstand this sudden disaster. Violent explosions began to appear continuously, and this ancient peak with a long history and a bit of mysterious rumors in the eyes of Beastmasters finally collapsed. On the other side, Chang Market, the roof of the Beastmaster building. What a joke! 6 king-level beasts were defeated in an instant. Tang Bailan could not help but show a bit of disbelief on her face when she noticed that the 7 majestic auras emanating from the distant mountains had decreased to 6 in just a few minutes, leaving only the most terrifying aura, and it was still approaching Chang Market at a very fast speed. Is it a 6th-level ultimate overlord beast or a 7th-level epic overlord? Sensing the gradually approaching terrifying figure, Tang Bailan's eyes were full of fear. If the opponent was really a 7th-level epic overlord, the power of the Beastmasters currently in Chang Market could not defeat such a terrifying existence at all, and at most could only restrain its pace. The next second, the star ring on Tang Bailan's finger flickered, summoning a bird pet beast about 4 meters long, with 2 horns on its head, lightning wrapped around its crown feathers, light blue feathers all over its body, a slender and sharp beak flashing with lightning, and a violent thunderous aura all over its body. Pet name, Jinglilan. Pet attributes, thunder, wind. Racial level, brilliant king. Strength level, upper level 6. Racial skills, lightning thunder, wind and thunder arc, silent death thunder, death storm. Tang Bailan's face was solemn. She quickly jumped onto Jinglilan's body and flew towards the Changji City beast taming base. At the same time, piercing warnings continued to sound in various locations in the city. Hearing the king-level alarm that sounded throughout the city, people who were at work or resting at home subconsciously stopped what they were doing, stood up and looked at the crowd fleeing outside the window. With panic on their faces, they hurriedly fled to the protection base or emergency evacuation passage of Changji City. Is it an alien beast attacking the city? What on earth happened? We actually need to evacuate urgently. Fuck, a king-level alarm. Are we going to die? A terrified voice suddenly sounded. Don't panic, it's just a king-level alarm. We have 3 king beastmasters in Changji City alone, there won't be any problems. Although the middle-aged man said this, he ran very fast and disappeared in a short while. A panting woman couldn't help but complain, this guy runs so fast. Seeing this, other people with panic on their faces didn't even dare to say anything, and quickly followed the beast soldiers to escape. Please evacuate in order, don't crowd, and prevent trampling. Dozens of beast soldiers wearing military uniforms and with 2 stars on their chest badges reminded. Jia Zijin, an intermediate beastmaster, a corporal of the city garrison corps, is currently responsible for the evacuation and refuge of ordinary people. At this time, he looked up at the sky, his face a little unhappy. Compared with the logistics of evacuating the people, he wanted to fight the beasts to the end. At this time, a burly man with a strong waist and tiger back patted Jia Zijin on the shoulder and said, "Don't think too much. What we should do now is to obey the arrangements of our superiors. Those extremely terrifying king beasts are not for weak beast masters like us to get involved in the battle. Don't be too disappointed. The Beast Taming Association is also to avoid greater casualties." Jia Zijin was speechless for a moment. Changji Beast Taming Base, the front line of Changji City's defense force. How long is the enemy expected to enter the strike range? Tang Bailan stared at the big screen and asked calmly. According to the current speed of the beast, it is expected to arrive within 10 minutes, and the fastest arrival time is 9 minutes and 30 seconds. Tang Bailan frowned slightly. Send out 50 sky eyes. I need to know the specific information and source energy value of this king beast in the shortest time. Name of pet, sky eye, pet attribute, mechanical, spiritual, racial level, top elite, strength level, 4th order lower, racial skills, sky eye monitoring, source energy detection, Data deduction, introduction, a mechanical life created through high technology, with the ability to monitor and detect information. Compared with its excellent monitoring and concealment capabilities, its combat capability is extremely low. Understood, Shi Shuyan nodded and quickly pressed the Sky Eye launch button. Crash! The ring-shaped high-tech hexagonal building above the main base of the beast control was staggered around like a building block, revealing dense holes like a metallic luster. Then dozens of mechanical life forms that looked like eyes flashed with azure light and quickly rose into the air, then sank into the sky and disappeared. Tang Bailan stared at the bright red light on the screen and asked directly, "How long will it take for support from Longking City and Shushan City to arrive? What is the assessment of the Provincial Beast Taming Association on this incident? How long is the estimated arrival time of the first Beast Taming Corps?" No wonder Tang Bailan was so nervous. If there was no timely support from other cities, the power of Changji City alone would not be able to resist the 7th level Epic Overlord. In order to contain this terrifying beast that was most likely at the Overlord level, she had already prepared for sacrifice. Shi Shuyan quickly replied, "Vice President Li of Shushan City will arrive in 10 minutes, and Vice President Zheng of Longking City will arrive in 15 minutes. The Provincial Beast Taming Association's assessment of this incident is a king-level disaster, and it is believed that there is no need to send the first Beast Taming Corps." Hearing this, Tang Bailan's face showed a solemn expression. "Not enough. The support of 2 King Beast Masters is not enough." "What do you mean not enough? It's just a powerful King Beast. Why did you, President, evacuate ordinary people in the city and even ask for support from neighboring cities?" At this time, the door was pushed open, and 2 Beast Masters with extraordinary temperament walked into the base's combat control room. Seeing the arrival of the people, the staff in the combat control room showed admiration on their faces. Because this man and woman are Yi Zhengyang, Vice President of the Changji City Beast Taming Association, and Shu Shutao, the head of the City Garrison Corps, and they are also the 2 famous King-level Beast Masters in Changji City. Chapter 177 Request for Support. Just a king? It seems that you don't know the seriousness of the matter at all, Tang Bailan said coldly. She always had an ominous premonition about this terrifying beast that suddenly appeared, so she asked her subordinates to send a distress signal at the first time. Being able to defeat 6 peak kings in a short period of time means that the combat power of this unknown beast is close to the 7th level epic. If this beast still hides some of its strength, it will be a disaster for the Changji City Beast Taming Association, which underestimates the enemy. As the president of the association, she would rather make a wrong decision than allow any problems to occur in Changji City. Vice President Yi Zhengyang couldn't help rolling his eyes and snorted, "With our 3 king-level beast masters in charge, even a 7th level overlord can compete with 1 or 2, let alone a king beast." Not long ago, he sensed that a terrifying aura was approaching at a very fast speed. Although the momentum was very strong, it didn't make him feel scared. The fact that the beast could defeat the unknown King Beast Master does not mean that it can survive under the hands of 3 King Beast Masters. Seeing this, Shu Shutao smiled and said, "The president is also being cautious. It's just that there is no large-scale beast tide. It's hard for a 6th-level King Beast to attack the city, so it seems unnecessary to ask for support." "But what if it's a 7th-level epic overlord?" Tang Bailan asked back. "Think about defeat before you win. She won't allow any accidents to happen." Yi Zhengyang was speechless for a moment, and didn't know how to refute this hypothesis. If a 7th-level overlord really appears, they will die if they don't escape. With the strength of the 3 of them, they can only hold on for a few rounds at most. Even with the support of the nearby city, it's no different from sending themselves to death. Only epic masters can fight against the 7th-level overlord beast. This is an iron rule. Only a demon like King Beast Master can cross this sky barrier. President, Changji No. 1 has calculated the information of the King Beast Master, Shi Shuyan said while operating the computer. "Who is it?" Tang Bailan asked with her head tilted. "Based on the smell of pets, there is an 80% chance that the Beast Master is Yin Twixen, a researcher from Longking City." Shi Shuyan showed a hint of surprise on his face. Everyone present was shocked when they heard this name. Yin Twixen is not only a senior researcher, but also a famous king-level dragon master of the Yin family in Longking. His strength is extremely powerful and can even crush most king-level masters. If it is a one-on-one match, none of the king-level beast masters present dare to say that they can beat Yin Twixen. Pass this information to Longking City, and also request epic powerhouse support from the provincial association, indicating that the strange beast encountered in Changji City is very likely to be an epic overlord, which is extremely dangerous and needs support, Tang Bailan said decisively. Understood, Shi Shuyan nodded. Don't persuade me, you know I am the president of the Changji City Beastmaster Association. Tang Bailan glanced at Yi Zhangyang and Shu Shutao, who were hesitant to speak beside him. Yi Zhangyang opened his mouth, and finally couldn't help but retort, you will regret it, President. You know, every epic level strongman is a big boss. And their status is even more respected than the president of the city association. If an epic level strongman with a clean background enters the beast taming corps, the lowest rank is a lieutenant general. If Tang Bailan makes the epic strongman run in vain, then he may not even be the president of the city association. After all, Changji City is just a remote third-level city, and even the president of the association does not have much gold content. I am the president of the Changji City Beast Taming Association. I will be responsible for the consequences of this action. Tang Bailan looked at Yi Zhangyang deeply, and then turned her eyes to the big screen. There, she can get the information she wants through the sky eye. At this time, Bai Luo's huge body has approached the Nansh River. The ground cracks wherever it passes, and it is only about 200 miles away from Changji City. Annoying flies. At this moment, Bai Luo paused slightly, scanned the hazy clouds around him, and a fierce light flashed in his eyes. The next second, the surrounding space energy began to fluctuate violently, and dozens of mechanical life forms trying to hide their traces suddenly appeared in the blue sky. In the face of this terrifying space shock, the fourth-level lower-level sky eye could not even escape, and could only stay in place, as if it had failed and could not move at all. Bai Luo was in no mood to pay attention to these broken copper and iron. His huge body quickly passed them, and then the turbulent space began to fluctuate, and the cracks like spider webs swallowed and destroyed all the sky eyes that were unable to resist. Space-type alien beast? No wonder it suddenly appeared near the city, looking at the giant beast on the big screen that was big enough to cover the sky and the surging space fluctuations around the alien beast. Tang Bailan showed a trace of shock on her face. She had experienced many battles, but this was the first time she had seen such a terrifying space alien beast. Monster, looking at the dozens of small screens that lost their signals in an instant on the big screen, Shi Shuyan was stunned. Even though she was watching from afar through the screen, the terrifying sense of oppression from the giant beast almost crushed her heart. Suddenly seeing such a majestic beast, Yi Zhangyang and Shu Shutao beside her couldn't help but feel depressed. Perhaps the president's approach was right. Just looking at the huge size of this giant beast, the three of them really couldn't stop it, and it was even difficult to defeat it. Looking at the number of sky eyes left, Tang Bailan hurriedly asked, have you detected the specific information? The results are being deduced. At this point, Shi Shuyan couldn't help but cover her full chest with her hands. In this stunning glimpse, she didn't expect her body to be so fragile, and her heart seemed to be jumping out. After a few seconds, Shi Shuyan forced a smile on her face. The deduction results are out. Pet name, suspected to be a plant-based dragon species. Pet attributes, wood, dragon. Space, racial level, king overlord. Strength level, 6th-7th level. Current source energy value, 3,576,000. Evaluation and speculation. According to speculation, there is a 61.45% probability that the beast is a 6th-order overlord race, a 19.12% probability that it is a 6th-order emperor race, and a 19.78% probability that it is a 7th-order king race. Seeing this extremely shocking detection information, the staff present couldn't help but take a breath. No wonder the results of the Sky Eye's speculation are very vague. What is the concept of 3,576,000 source energy values? You must know that the normal source energy value of a 6th-order king is between 400,000 and 1.2 million, while the normal source energy value of a 6th-order overlord is between 1.5 million and 2 million. Chapter 178 Cheyenne Missile. According to the normal source energy value detected by the Sky Eye, the race level of the giant beast on the big screen is extremely close to the legendary emperor, and its strength is also above the 6th level. It is an extremely dangerous and terrifying existence. We must not let it get close to Changji City for 100 miles, otherwise most of the city will be destroyed by it. Tang Bailan stared at the giant beast on the screen, her eyes full of fear. Unlike other beast masters, even through the screen, as an appraiser, she can still clearly perceive the unusualness of this giant beast. The target is about to enter the strike range of the Cyanidum missile, Shi Shuyan said while operating the three-dimensional virtual big screen in front of her. Tang Bailan ordered without hesitation, with this giant beast as the center, launch 2 level 6 Cyanidum missiles. Received, Shi Shuyan responded. Her fingers quickly clicked on the big screen without stopping for a moment. Shi Shuyan, President, the launch of the Cyanidum missile requires final authorization. Tang Bailan pressed the confirmation button in front of her without thinking. Authorization confirmation completed. On the three-dimensional screen, the Crimson Cyanidum missile was being loaded. The next second, the high-tech pentagonal tower silo on the right side of the main beast taming base was instantly deformed and expanded, revealing 2 giant missiles with a red metallic luster and a length of about 10 meters. Then, a brilliant flame flashed and burst at the bottom of the silo, and 2 Cyanidum missiles rushed to the sky at a very fast speed. Yi Zhengyang, who was standing by, showed a trace of surprise on his face. President, there are only 5 level 6 Cyanidum missiles in stock in the beast taming base. Isn't it too fast to launch 2 at once? Cyanidum missiles are divided into 9 levels in total. They are important weapons for the city defense force in Donghu. They have the characteristics of fast launch speed, long range, high hit accuracy, short reaction time, and strong lethality. At present, the highest level of the latest Cyanidum series missiles developed by research is only level 8. As for the level 9 Cyanidum missile, it is said that it is still under development. The higher the level of the missile, the more expensive it is. In order to defend the city's safety, each level 3 city will be equipped with 5 level 6 and 1 level 7 Cyanidum missile as a defense force. Even if a peak existence of the 6th order king is directly hit by a 6th order Cyanidum missile, it will lose most of its life if it does not die. However, because the king beasts above the 6th order are extremely sensitive, they can basically escape from the core area of the explosion when the Cyanidum missile arrives. Therefore, the 6th order Cyanidum missile can only cause minor injuries to the king beasts, and the results that can be achieved are not great. On the contrary, these Cyanidum missiles can play a great role in clearing large-scale beast tides. As for the 7th order Cyanidum missile, the aftermath of the missile explosion after launch is enough to paralyze the defense force of Chengji City, and even destroy most of the city. It is the ultimate weapon for mutual destruction. Without the permission of the superior city, or if the city is in a desperate situation, the 7th order Cyanidum missile will never be launched. As a king-level beastmaster, Yi Zhengyang knows the horror of the 6th order overlord. Although the behemoth on the big screen is abnormally large, it does not mean that its speed is not sensitive. This is also the reason why Yi Zhengyang questioned the launch of the Cyanidum missile. In this regard, Tang Bailan's solemn face showed no hesitation. I need to test its speed and defense capabilities, so as to prepare for the worst. Has the situation become so serious? Hearing this, Yi Zhengyang and Shu Shutao looked at each other, and their faces became solemn. Tang Bailan's words revealed a very clear meaning. She suspected that this giant beast was a terrifying existence of the 7th level epic overlord. It's almost there. Feeling the attraction coming from not far ahead, Bai Luo's face showed a trace of desire. At this moment, the blue sky became bright, and 2 hot streamers appeared in the sky at some point, and they were rushing towards him at the speed of flying clouds and lightning. Looking at the 2 streamers falling from the sky, Bai Luo was stunned for a moment. The next second, the tail parts of the 2 red oval-shaped Cyanidum missiles began to unfold and detach, revealing the blazing power source at the rear end of the missiles, and the speed soared sharply. In the combat control room, everyone was extremely nervous watching the violent explosion that was about to happen on the big screen, and Tang Bailan's eyes were fixed on the screen. Boom boom boom. 2 consecutive suns suddenly rose from the ground, and the picture on the big screen was covered by a white light and waves of fire. The ground where Bai Luo stood at this time had already collapsed, and thousands of thick and long whiskers like dragons were swallowed and burned by the waves of fire. The extremely violent shock wave swept out in all directions like a tsunami, madly swallowing and impacting everything around. With the 2 deafening roars, the ground in Changji Market also shook. Some people who had not yet evacuated looked at the 2 dazzling suns in the distance and began to panic. Don't worry, we are here to protect you. Move forward in an orderly manner to prevent trampling, the beastman who is responsible for maintaining order shouted loudly, and then looked at the fire in the distance and was slightly absent-minded. Is the beast tide coming? The association has even used the level 6 Cyanidum missile. On the other side, The area where the two suns rose was filled with a large amount of smoke and dust, and then Bai Luo's towering body was revealed. It was a giant beast that was thousands of meters tall. The scorching flames covering its body were slowly extinguishing. Only a few dozen of its majestic long whiskers, like those of a dragon, were broken. Its extremely strong lower body was charred black, and a wound more than 10 meters long appeared, from which some green blood slowly flowed. However, within a few seconds, the wounds on Bai Luo's body began to heal quickly, and even the charred epidermis was restored to its original state under the flashes of green light. Chirp, boring, Bai Luo glanced in the direction of the missile attack, and then continued to move forward at a high speed. The most important thing for it now is to collect enough energy to revive Chen Wei. It doesn't want to pay attention to attacks like this that can only make the body feel slightly spicy and stinging. Chang Market, Combat Control Room. Looking at the terrifying giant beast on the big screen that was unscathed and even seemed to be indifferent, all the beastmasters were shocked. How is it possible? Shi Shuian couldn't help swallowing his saliva. What kind of monster is this? Without dodging, he was able to withstand the bombardment of 2 level 6 Shianitian missiles with his body alone. Sure enough, Tang Bailan murmured with her fists clenched, and even her body couldn't help but tremble. Her inner guess turned out to be true. The 2 king-level beastmasters Yi Zhangyang and Shu Shutao stared at the screen with their eyes fixed, their faces full of fear that was difficult to conceal. Chapter 179 Swallowing Everything. Not long ago, in the herbal medicine space, the figures of Chen Wei and Kai Ling suddenly appeared on the shallows of a clear stream with abundant energy. The snow-white cat, which was lying in a ball in the herbal medicine field with a bit of sadness in its gemstone eyes, suddenly trembled, and its ears trembled slightly before it looked towards the stream. Looking at the beastmaster who had no breath in the distance and Kai Ling who was in a coma, Yutong's eyes suddenly widened, staring at their figures, as if she couldn't accept this fact. Then it quickly rushed to Chen Wei's side, its eyes slowly closed in a downward curved shape, and a faint sadness appeared on its face. Then it stretched out its pink tongue and kept licking Chen Wei's face, as if it wanted to wake Chen Wei up. At this moment, a colorful black light began to flash continuously at Chen Wei's heart, emitting a breath full of oppression. As this breath spread, the flesh and blood on Chen Wei's right arm wound were actually rapidly entangled and repaired. After just a few seconds, his wound was restored to its original state, and there was no trace of the previous injury at all. Seeing this, Yutong was startled, and then she trembled and put her fluffy head against Chen Wei's chest. Thump, thump, the almost imperceptible heartbeat was beating slowly. Hearing this faint sound, Yutong couldn't help showing a touch of surprise and excitement on her face. Meow, oh, great, Chen Wei is not dead. At this time, Chen Wei, who was trapped in the darkness, only felt waves of severe pain coming from all over his body. He subconsciously opened his eyes, and the first thing he saw was the deep starry sky, and under the starry sky was a Rift Emperor dragon entrenched on the planet. Seeing him wake up, the Rift Emperor dragon raised its head and let out a dragon roar, and then the dragon body, which was as big as a planet, suddenly shrank and rushed into Chen Wei's body. In an instant, Chen Wei felt that all the bones in his body were shaking and shattering, and he felt numb and itchy as if there were a large group of ants crawling in his flesh and blood. Fortunately, this feeling did not last long, and an incredibly rich source of power filled his body. Feeling the overwhelming energy that was about to burst his body, Chen Wei subconsciously activated the Tyrant Dragon secret record that he had learned for a long time in his mind. As the Tyrant Dragon secret record was running, the source stars, muscles, bones, organs and cells in Chen Wei's body were constantly absorbing the energy overflowing from the resurrection of the undead dragon blood. Yutong looked at the beastmaster in front of her, who was covered in black light, and a hint of surprise flashed in her eyes. As the black light spread and merged, it could clearly sense that Chen Wei's breath was constantly soaring. Seeing this, Yutong subconsciously stepped back a few steps to avoid disturbing the awakening of her own beastmaster. On the other side, Bai Luo had already arrived at the mouth of the Nanch River. It looked at the sky above the river, and its scarlet eyes showed a hint of excitement. Bai Luo's body was shining with a dazzling silver-white light, and countless long and strong whiskers like a dragon rushed towards the sky. The next second, the space seemed to be pierced, and a hazy space ripple began to emerge. If a beastmaster or a strange beast were here, through the oscillating space ripples, they might be able to vaguely see the primitive world across the wilderness. This lush forest world is full of towering, thousand-year-old trees in various shapes and forms. The branches are intertwined and the leaves are lush. There is always a hazy smoke, and a large number of plant-based strange beasts live and reproduce here. However, the peaceful life of the primitive forest was broken at this moment, and endless thick long whiskers poured into this world in an instant. Boom! Countless long whiskers shuttled into the earth and the forest, and then burst out with dark light. A small black hole quietly appeared on each long whisker, and the majestic attraction began to burst out. The entire Nanch River secret realm seemed to have collapsed and the earth had been shaking violently. Bai Luo's eyes flashed with a fierce light, and the endless source of power in his body instantly exploded. Boom boom boom, countless huge cracks suddenly spread from the ground, and large areas of ancient trees began to fall. Under this horrific disaster that seemed like a natural disaster, all the strange beasts living in this jungle began to flee for their lives, and even triggered a beast tide. Among them, many panicked strange beasts bumped into these overwhelming long whiskers on the way. Although the main target of these small black tung trees is the rich energy permeating the secret realm, some strange beasts that are too close to the black hole are swallowed up by the black hole without any resistance. Looking at the large number of strange beasts that died in the secret realm, Bai Luo's scarlet eyes flashed a trace of pity, but when he thought of Chen Wei who lost his life in the herbal space, he subconsciously accelerated the absorption of the energy of the secret realm. After all, it had done such a thing once in the secret realm of Nanbin Mountain, and its hands were already stained with the blood of strange beasts. As countless long-bearded black holes plundered frantically, the rich energy in the secret realm of Nanch River slowly decreased at a speed visible to the naked eye, and the color of the crystal stone on Bai Luo's chest, which was emitting a light green glow, began to darken. Sensing this sudden disaster, the 3 6th-level king beasts living in the secret realm could no longer sit still. They, who are usually mortal enemies, began to work together to expel these strange, thick long beards. The earth suddenly cracked, and a ferocious giant turtle with a body length of about 15 meters emerged, with dark brown armor on its back, a slender tail, and fleshy thorns on it. It opened its upper and lower jaws, and the heavy earth source power flowed in its huge mouth, and then it bit the strange long beard in front of it fiercely. There was a loud bang, and most of the long beard in front of it was broken. The Earth Extreme Heavy Turtle also took several steps back because of the huge recoil caused by this attack. I can't even bite it off with my Earth Strike teeth. The Earth Extreme Heavy Turtle looked at the terrifying long beards around it, which were enough to cover the sky and the sun, and his eyes were full of fear. Then, in the dense ancient forest, emerald green spots flashed continuously, and a giant green blade about tens of meters long slashed out from the forest, accurately hitting the long beard that was severely injured. This is a high-level skill of the wood element. Energy Spinning Blade. Boom! After the long beard broke, the small black hole condensed on its surface also collapsed instantly, and this terrifying explosion energy immediately set off waves of terrifying airwaves. Then, 2 plant-based beasts with strength reaching the 6th-level king walked out of the forest. One was the Storm Silkworm King of the wood and wind elements, and the other was the Kanglin Elf of the wood and water elements. Looking at the feudal resistance of the 3 king beasts in the secret realm, Bai Luo's scarlet eyes flashed with a trace of impatience, and then another long beard bombarded in front of them, and then warned them with his mind. "Don't bother me anymore, I don't want to kill you." Hearing this, the 3 king beasts showed anger on their faces. What a joke. Destroying the homeland on which they depend for survival is fine, but they actually asked not to resist. It was the first time they had seen such a shameless king beast. Chapter 180 Epic Power. The 3 king beasts were immediately furious, and the immense pressure from the kings in their bodies burst out in an instant. Even the earth that was collapsing violently could not help but stagnate. However, these king beasts seemed to have chosen the wrong target to shock. The huge pressure they vented together was like a breeze in Bai Luo's eyes, and they were really vulnerable. Looking for death, Bai Luo's scarlet eyes condensed slightly, and the vast momentum that was enough to shake the sky and the earth poured out from its majestic body. Even the secret space could not withstand its pressure and began to tremble. This domineering momentum that was far more vast and majestic than the king's pressure suppressed the 3 king beasts in the secret realm in just a moment, and they dared not move, and even made them panic and couldn't help wanting to kneel down and surrender. The Storm Silkworm King and the Blue Orchid Elf wanted to resist, but they only lasted a few seconds under this domineering pressure before kneeling down. On the contrary, the Earth Extreme Heavy Turtle relied on its strong body and still insisted on it. Even because of the fierce resistance, a trace of blood appeared on its dark face, and the solid shell on its back was creaking. However, this stalemate did not last long. The Earth Extreme Heavy Turtle, who was unwilling to accept it, finally fell to the ground due to exhaustion. The three king beasts, who found that they had no power to fight back, looked at each other, their faces full of helpless bitterness and fear. Whether it is fighting for territory or mates, strength is respected among beasts. Only the strong can have everything, and the losers will become subordinates of the winners or lose their lives. This is the survival of the fittest in the competition of beasts. Since they have already lost, the new owner of the Nansh River Secret Realm is the unknown beast in front of them. But now they care more about their own lives and property than the safety of the Secret Realm. However, at this moment, Bai Luo did not have the existence of these three king beasts in his eyes. After seeing these king beasts give up resistance, Bai Luo's attention was focused on devouring and purifying the energy of the Secret Realm. The next second, a fierce attraction burst out from the thousands of long whisker black holes on its body. The vast and rich energy of heaven and earth in the Secret Realm suddenly turned into a series of materialized energy light beams that poured into the black hole. On the other side, in the combat control room, everyone was shocked when they saw the unknown dragon species devouring the Secret Realm on the big screen. Tang Bailin widened her eyes in surprise, as if she couldn't believe the amazing scene in front of her. Yi Zhangyang and Shu Shutao on the side frowned, and their eyes showed a bit of confusion and fear. It can even devour the Secret Realm. What kind of monster is this? In the control room, except for the three king-level beast masters who could barely keep calm, the rest of the staff were shocked by the scene and their brains went blank. In their opinion, such a terrifying existence must be a 7th-level overlord. At this moment, two green figures, one far and one near, suddenly appeared on the three-dimensional screen in front of him, approaching rapidly. Seeing this, Shi Shuyan said, "President," through the contact signal. Vice President Li of Shushan City has already arrived at the beast taming base, and Vice President Zheng of Longqing City will need 5 minutes. Hearing this, Tang Bailin frowned, and said without hesitation, "Transmit the information of this exotic beast to the Provincial Beast Taming Association in real time." Even the 6th-level Shianitun missile can't break the defense of this suspected 7th-level dragon species. Even if Changji City has 2 more king-level powerhouses, it will not affect the situation. What Changji City needs most now is epic combat power. How long will it take for the epic powerhouse support that was submitted before to arrive? Shi Shuyan, the Provincial Beast Taming Association has approved this support application. Zhang Lesheng and Zhang Shishi will arrive in Changji City within half an hour. Shu Shutao was surprised to hear this familiar name and asked, "Is it the one from Yangling City?" She had heard of this beast-taming genius who had been making a sensation in Hanyang Province recently. She didn't expect that the Provincial Beast Taming Association would actually send this new epic powerhouse. You should know that in Donghua, there are very few beast masters who can break through to the king level before the age of 30. Each of them can be said to be a child of destiny. Zhang Lesheng had never been well known before, and could even be said to be unknown, but when he was 28 years old, he suddenly broke through to the king level, breaking the fastest king-level record of the younger generation in Yangling City, thus making a splash and attracting the attention of the Beastmaster Association. Especially in recent days, in addition to the rumors of the legendary Dragon Egg, the news that Zhang Lesheng broke through to the epic level was the most shocking. In just 10 years, he had a major breakthrough and became an epic master at the age of 38. This growth rate is really amazing, and even made many Beastmasters suspect that he has a big secret. Logically speaking, an epic master like Zhang Lesheng who has just been promoted should still be in seclusion and practice, familiarizing himself with a bond and coordinated battle. Shi Shuyan nodded, yes. Hearing this, Tang Bailin felt relieved. Fortunately, the target of this unknown dragon species is the Nansh River Secret Realm. Otherwise, with the current strength of the Beastmasters in Changji City, it would be difficult to hold on until the support of Zhang Shishi arrives. At this moment, the door of the control room opened, and a burly Beastmaster hurried in. This middle-aged man was wearing a black and white vest, revealing most of his muscles. He was extremely strong and exuded a fierce aura. He was Li Angren, the vice president of the Shushan City Beastmaster Association. President Tang, I have read the information of that dragon species. Have you planned the specific combat plan? Li Angren said straightforwardly. At this critical moment, he was not interested in small talk. Tang Bailin said with a serious face, We can't attack for the time being. I think the power of the Four Kings is not enough to repel this monster now." Yi Zhangyang and Shu Shutao nodded slightly. Even the continuous bombardment of the Xiantian missile was ignored by the giant beast on the big screen. They didn't think their pets could break the defense. So let that evil beast go crazy and devour the secret realm. Li Angren's face was very solemn. To be honest, just by watching the shocking scene on the big screen, he knew that he was no match for this monster, but he would not agree to sit here and watch the monster wreak havoc just because of his lack of strength. The overall situation is more important. The safety of Changji City is more important than the Nansh River secret realm, Tang Bailan questioned. If we take the initiative to attack and cause the giant beast to go crazy, can you stop the giant beast from destroying Changji City? Li Angren's face sank, but he still shook his head helplessly. Our first goal is to defend Changji City. Zhang Shishi will arrive in Changji City within half an hour, and then it will be the best time to deal with the giant beast, Tang Bailan explained. Chapter 181 Resurrection Enhancement. On the other side, as the Tyrant Dragon secret records operated autonomously, the aura emanating from Chen Wei became stronger and stronger. The shadow of the Rift Emperor Dragon that had entered Chen Wei's body also turned into a black light that enveloped his soul, and then passed through the dark and silent world, breaking the boundary between life and death and bringing him back to the human world. A moment later, Chen Wei, who was lying on the shallows of the stream, trembled slightly, as if he was about to wake up. At this time, Yutong, who was standing aside and watching Chen Wei, saw this, and her eyes suddenly lit up, her face full of excitement that could not be concealed. "Me, Greek letter theta, wake up." Hearing Yutong's voice, Chen Wei's fingers moved slightly, and then he opened his eyes in confusion. Kei Ling, looking at the familiar titanium crystal puppet in front of him and smelling the medicinal fragrance that filled the surroundings, Chen Wei suddenly came back to his senses and quickly got up to look for Kei Ling's figure. "Me, here." Looking at Chen Wei with a panicked face, the excited Yutong suddenly plunged into his arms. Holding the fluffy Yutong, Chen Wei turned around and saw Kei Ling, who was in deep sleep. Feeling the beast-controlling contract that was almost losing contact on the source star, he couldn't help but feel a tightness in his heart. "Huh? Fortunately it's just a coma." After carefully checking Kei Ling's physical condition, Chen Wei subconsciously breathed a sigh of relief, and then fed Kei Ling a thawing agent. Even ice-type pets can be corroded and frozen by high-level cold air and become comatose. This situation is not uncommon. "Yutong, did Bai Luo bring us back?" "Where is it?" After treating Kei Ling's injuries, Chen Wei glanced around, but didn't see Bai Luo's chubby figure. He couldn't help but show deep worry on his face. Although he didn't know what happened later, the fact that he could appear in the herbal space meant that Bai Luo finally took action. That woman is extremely powerful, and I don't know if Bai Luo will be injured because of this. "Meow, Bai Luo only brought you back after going out, but it hasn't come back yet." Yutong shook her head, her face full of uneasiness. "Among all pets, it has been with Bai Luo for the longest time and has the best relationship with him. If it were not for the fact that it could not freely enter and exit the herbal space and had to take care of its own beast master, it would have tried every means to leave here and look for Bai Luo." Seeing that Yutong was also unclear about Bai Luo's whereabouts, Chen Wei quickly reached into his trouser pocket, but there was only a pool of gravel left in the bag. "Oh no, the communication stone is broken. If I had known earlier, I would not have made only one because of the difficulty in making it. How can I contact Bai Luo now?" Chen Wei frowned. At this moment, an excited dragon roar sounded. "Yi, Chen Wei." Kei Ling opened her eyes and saw Chen Wei, who was safe and sound not far away. Her huge body turned into a bright blue lightning and rushed towards him. Although she knew before that Chen Wei had the resurrection given by the Rift Emperor Dragon, she was afraid that she was dreaming if she didn't come into contact with him in person. Looking at the bursts of air explosions caused by Kei Ling's huge body during a short-distance sprint, Chen Wei seemed to sense something, but he did not dodge, but instead opened his arms to meet it. Is it a dream? Seeing Chen Wei, who did not dodge or refuse, and acted out of character, Kei Ling's pale golden pupils dimmed slightly, and her body shrank rapidly. If it were in the past, her beastmaster would have called a halt long ago. Boom! Two figures, one large and one small, collided passionately, setting off a strong shock wave. "Are you okay?" Chen Wei hugged Kei Ling tightly in his arms and said softly. Today is different from the past. Now that he has mastered the first level of the Tyrant Dragon secret record, He is no longer the weak beast master he used to be. He can now fully withstand a passionate hug like K Ling's, and no longer has to worry about dying from comminuted fractures and internal bleeding due to a passionate hug. Feeling the familiar warmth, the edges of K Ling's dragon eyes were a little wet. I won't fail again, she made up her mind secretly, and trembled slightly against Chen Wei's body. There seemed to be a flame rising slowly in her eyes full of fighting spirit. Sensing K Ling's firm idea through the beast contract, Chen Wei subconsciously looked up at the sky filled with clouds and smoke, and whispered to comfort, "Don't blame you, it's the enemy who is too cunning." Who would have thought that a king-level beast master with completely overwhelming strength would not talk about martial ethics and take advantage of the younger generation to make a sneak attack? Who can withstand this? However, compared with a strange king-level strong man, he is more worried about Bai Luo's safety. So that although Chen Wei's strength has been greatly enhanced because of his resurrection, he has no happiness and excitement in his heart, but is faintly uneasy. The Nanch River secret realm, which used to be quiet and peaceful, is now facing a natural disaster. The 3 king-level beasts born from the secret realm chose to surrender because of the huge gap in strength between the two sides, and watch the energy of heaven and earth in the secret realm change from rich to sparse. The crazy flow of heaven and earth energy caused the environment in the secret realm to become increasingly harsh. The towering ancient trees began to shake and wither due to lack of energy. Countless leaves turned yellow and were dying. The water level of the huge river that crossed the entire primeval forest also slowly dropped, as if it was going to dry up completely. Even the boundless land was collapsing and flooding, and the originally fertile land was about to turn into dead yellow sand. However, watching the various scenes happening in the secret realm, the 3 king beasts kneeling on the ground were somewhat indifferent. Obviously, compared with the homes they inhabit, they value their own lives more, and they didn't even care about their own tribes. Perhaps in their eyes, the strong should get everything. Looking at the originally vibrant Nanch River secret realm losing its vitality due to his absorption, Bai Luo's scarlet eyes revealed some expectations. "Chen Wei, wait for me a little longer." With a crazy plunder of countless energy black holes, the crystal stone emitting dark green light that was nurtured in Bai Luo's body has begun to undergo the final transformation. In the battle control room, the wide hall was silent, and everyone's face was filled with a lingering tension. "President, according to the Sky Eye detection, the source power concentration of the Nanch River secret realm has dropped from the flood level secret realm to the wild level," Shi Shuyan said. Hearing this, Tang Bailan's eyes flashed with a trace of pain. Changji Market was not rich to begin with. Recently, a flood-level secret realm was finally discovered, but it was ruined by an unknown dragon species that suddenly appeared. Thinking of this, her heart was about to bleed. "How long will it take for Zhang Shishi to arrive?" Tang Bailan said in a deep voice. "About 10 minutes, Shi Shuyan replied. "Very good." Tang Bailan squeezed a smile on her face. "When Zhang Shishi arrives, she will make this giant beast spit out as much energy from the secret realm as it eats." In her opinion, no matter how strong this dragon species is, it is not the opponent of an epic strong man. Chapter 182-9 Thunder Blue Luon. It was because Tang Bailan felt the dangerous aura of the Overlord on Bai Luo that she was so tolerant. You know, if the Hong-level secret realm is used to train the beast masters in the association, the abundant energy of heaven and earth alone can quickly cultivate many excellent beast masters, and it is even possible to add 1 or 2 king-level beast masters to Changji City in the future. As a result, the giant beast on the big screen was destroyed and turned into a wild-level secret realm. The loss to Changji City can be imagined. President Tang, in addition to the aura detected by the Sky Eye, is there any other evidence that can prove that the appearance of this giant beast is related to researcher Yin? A middle-aged man in a suit with a gleam in his eyes next to Tang Bailan said. This person is Zhang Ziazan, the vice president of the Longqing City Beastmaster Association, and also the king-level beastmaster supporting Changji City this time. Being able to become the vice president of a second-level city, Zhang Ziazan's strength is also one of the strongest among the kings. If we really talk about strength, even Tang Bailan is not his opponent. These are just guesses drawn through the Sky Eye for now. There is no substantial evidence. The specific information still needs to be verified on the spot, Tang Bailan said. Zhang Ziazan nodded slightly. The relationship between the Zhang family of Longqing and the Yin family is very close, which is one of the reasons why he was able to reach Changji Market so quickly. After all, if it is really Yin Twixin who made the mess, someone has to deal with it, otherwise it is really unacceptable. President, Zhang Shishi is about to arrive at the Nansh River secret realm, Shi Shuyan said excitedly. At this moment, the figure of a blond man suddenly appeared in the three-dimensional picture on the big screen. Tang Bailan's eyes fell on the man, and her tone was a little odd. Thank you for your support, Zhang Shishi. He was a man who looked about 20 years old, wearing a white shirt, with golden hair, very handsome, and gave people a somewhat strong temperament. I will launch an attack in 1 minute. Please prepare for the city's defense in advance, President Tang, Zhang Lesheng said straight to the point. He is here to support, not to destroy the city. The aftermath of the epic warriors' outbreak in the battle was like a natural disaster, and Nansh River was not far from Changji City. If the relevant personnel were not notified in advance and Changji City was prepared for protection, the source power of his pet alone would be enough to destroy most of the city. Understood. Changji City will enter the first level protection state in 30 seconds. You can feel free to take action, Tang Bailan said with a smile. Looking at the figure disappearing on the screen, Tang Bailan turned to look at Shi Shuyan. Directly activate the city's first level protection shield. Received. Shi Shuyan's fingers moved quickly on the screen until he pressed a red button at the end. City defense has been activated. Boom. With a loud noise above Changji City, a transparent protective barrier slowly rose from the ground and enveloped the entire city. Nansh River secret realm. Bai Luo felt the dark green crystals that were nurtured by the black hole in his body and were about to undergo a complete transformation, and his face couldn't help but reveal a faint longing. However, the next second, there were bursts of shattering sounds in the void, and the space around Bai Luo was rioting wildly at this moment, as if some terrible existence had suddenly attacked. The terrifying energy storm swept everything around, and a thunder column that seemed to purify everything in the world suddenly attacked Bai Luo, whose body was as big as clouds and sun. Wherever the purple thunder passed, the space seemed to be shattered. Bai Luo's scarlet eyes suddenly shrank. Facing this astonishing blow, it did not retreat but advanced instead. The vast momentum that shook the sky and the earth rose to the sky. The huge source of power fluctuations quickly gathered in its hands to form a giant black hole that swallowed everything and heavily bombarded the thunder column. The two magnificent energies began to collide violently, and darkness and thunder entangled and competed with each other. Chirp, who, as Bai Luo roared, the thunder column that came roaring became violently shaken and extremely dim in the face of the huge attraction, and then gradually swallowed by the black hole and disappeared. After taking the sneak attack, Bai Luo scanned the surroundings, trying to find the enemy hidden in the void. Unlike the weak and like King Beast, this enemy lurking in the dark is fully capable of disrupting its actions. This shocking scene fell into Zhang Lesheng's eyes, making him feel nervous. I didn't expect that there would be a King Beast in this world that could defeat the purple rainbow sky thunder of Jiuli Kinglun with one blow. In his opinion, the huge beast in front of him was very strange. Although his strength was only at the peak of the 6th level king, he was faintly filled with a captivating aura of a hegemon, and he could also burst out the combat power of the 7th level hegemon in a short period of time, which made him feel surprised and excited. The race level of this giant beast has definitely reached the level of an epic hegemon. You know, as a newly promoted epic beast master, he only has one initial pet that has reached the 7th level hegemon, and the strength of the other contracted pets is only the 6th level king. At this moment, looking at this powerful and mysterious giant beast, Zhang Lesheng couldn't help but have his eyes shining. If he could successfully contract this dragon species, he would soon be able to cultivate a second 7th level overlord, thus greatly increasing his strength. Such a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity must not be missed. Chirp, found it. Although the sneak-attacking pet tried to cover up the breath emitted by its body, Bai Luo still sensed the extremely weak life fluctuations in the distance. Bai Luo narrowed his eyes slightly, and the accumulated power in his body burst out. The huge right palm that looked like a black hole, swallowing endlessly from a distance suddenly, fell towards Zhang Lesheng's position. Swallow the world, looking at this terrifying wooden palm that completely blocked the space, covered everything with shadows, and was large enough to cover the sky and the sun, Zhang Lesheng subconsciously felt a tightness in his heart, and quickly patted the 9 thunder blue loon under him with his palm. It was a divine bird about 10 meters long, covered in gorgeous feathers, with a peacock-like appearance and extremely long tail feathers. Its huge wings were also covered with the green-yellow eye-shaped markings. And it looked extremely beautiful and elegant. Pet name, 9 Thunder Blue Loon. Pet attributes, Thunder, Wind. Racial level, Epic Overlord. Strength level, lower rank 7. Racial skills: 9 Thunder Arclight, Silent Death Thunder, Thunderstorm, Purple Rainbow Sky Thunder. Pet introduction: a divine bird that evolved by swallowing thunder. It can use thunder with multiple attribute powers and is extremely powerful. It is said to have the most beautiful cry in the world, and it also contains some powerful blood from the ancient phoenix. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 183: Return to the Original. Death Thunder of Silence. Zhang Lesheng's thoughts were transmitted. The next second, the source energy value of Jiuli Kinglun began to soar, and a thunderbolt emitting a purple light, which seemed to turn everything around into death, pierced through the giant palm that covered everything in front of him. Sensing the strong sense of danger brought by this thunderbolt, Bai Luo's huge palm paused slightly, and then rolled over at a faster speed. Boom! The explosion sounded suddenly, like the collapse of the sky and the crack of the earth, setting off a series of magnificent shock waves, thus forming a giant storm that swept in all directions. Under this terrifying blow, Bai Luo's extremely solid giant palm actually appeared a large area of charred black, and the tall figure of more than 1,000 meters in height actually retreated several steps. How is it possible? Seeing this, several king-level beast masters watching the battle in the battle control room were stunned, and their brains were even a little sluggish. What a joke! This terrifying beast suspected to be a 7th level overlord can actually compete with Zhang Shiki, and even not lose. Li Angren looked at the smoke-filled Nanch River on the big screen, and couldn't help but glance at Tang Bailan beside him. Fortunately, his greatest advantage was that he listened to advice, and finally did not rashly choose to fight. Otherwise, even if he tried his best, he would fall under this terrifying giant palm. Don't worry, this is just a tentative battle for the epic strong man, and the giant beast won't last long, Tang Bailan said confidently. In her opinion, even if this giant beast is really a so-called 7th level overlord, it can only lose in front of the fetters and coordinated battles of the epic strong man. The King Beast Masters in the hall nodded one after another, but they still looked at Tang Bailan with a bit of relief and fear. What a terrifying beast! President Tang is indeed foresighted. It is indeed a battle between an epic master and a dominant beast. Ordinary king-level masters can't even intervene. After witnessing the battle between Zhongxi and the beast, they had to admit that even if the 5 King Beast Masters attacked the beast on the screen together, it would most likely be solved by 2 slaps. Boom! Bai Luo was forced to take a few steps back by the powerful impact. Looking at the thick and long whiskers that collapsed from a large number of black holes in the secret realm, the life essence that was almost condensed in the body, and the oppressive enemy in front of it, it was a little absent-minded, and long-lost memories emerged in its mind. It was originally an ordinary carrot in the secret realm of Nanbin Mountain, carefree, free, and full of friends. Although its strength is not strong, it is not weak either. At least in the secret realm, there are not many beasts that can beat it. Even if it encounters an unbeatable opponent, Bai Luo can rely on the underground escape skill to escape. Until one day, it was planting flowers and grass in the secret realm, and suddenly a sad dragon roar sounded in the sky, and then a dragon ball with dragon blood fell from the sky, and hit Bai Luo's head by chance, and even knocked him out. Probably because of the powerful pressure from the dragon ball, it was not swallowed by the alien beast after fainting, but fell into a strange fusion state. Perhaps it was the remaining dragon soul on the dragon ball, or perhaps it was the strange aura permeating the dragon ball. During this fusion process, it went berserk. Bai Luo could not control its behavior, but could vaguely perceive the situation outside. As a result, the originally abundant energy of heaven and earth in the secret realm of Nanbin Mountain was absorbed by Bai Luo, who was in urgent need of huge energy, and even the secret realm was about to collapse, and even the alien beasts who tried to stop it on the way were swallowed up. After completing the fusion, Bai Luo, who woke up, looked at the fragmented secret realm, chose to seal the power and bloodthirsty instincts in his body, and began to cultivate the only remaining vitality in the secret realm. During this long process of repairing the secret realm, it more or less encountered some powerful beast masters. However, in the face of the recruitment of these beast masters, Bai Luo refused all without exception. Bai Luo did not want to leave the secret realm, and he wanted to restore the secret realm to its previous appearance. Until one day, Bai Luo met Chen Wei in the secret realm, and his muddle-headed heart was touched for the first time. Chen Wei's warm smile, warm embrace, and warm emotion still make it remember deeply. For some reason, just looking at Chen Wei from a distance, its heart was filled with joy, and it even made it miss the warm embrace. Even if it was a moth to flame, it wanted to touch that warmth. Thinking of this, Bai Luo's mind suddenly emerged with the unwillingness on Chen Wei's face when he died. I will never fail before resurrecting Chen Wei. For this reason, it did not hesitate to unlock the seal in its body and find the terrifying power that had been forgotten for a long time and could devour everything. Chirp, oh, return to the origin. As the voice fell, a terrifying and overwhelming pressure surged from Bai Luo's tall body. The terrifying devouring power that suddenly erupted even made Zhang Leshan feel the fear before death. How is it possible? Zhang Leshan looked at Bai Luo in disbelief. As the energy between heaven and earth was completely devoured in an instant, his body expanded rapidly, and his momentum continued to soar. Li Jiulai Qinglun also let out a whine and anger. As an epic overlord, it was actually afraid of this terrifying pressure, which was undoubtedly a huge shame for the proud Jiulai Qinglun. Bond coordination, facing this monster that seemed to destroy everything, Zhang Leshan had to make a last-ditch effort, and the majestic source power blended between him and Jiulai Qinglun. However, the next second, boom boom, the violent roar sounded continuously. As Bai Luo's body grew rapidly, Zhang Leshan could clearly feel that the energy in his and Jiulai Qinglun's bodies was being drained away. Even the bond coordination they were performing was interrupted by this terrifying devouring force. At this moment, the earth had collapsed and shattered, countless rubble rose from the ground, and the entire Nanch River was instantly swallowed by the endless black hole. Bai Luo's already towering body quickly rose higher. After a while, a terrifying giant shadow about 10,000 meters high, enough to support the sky and the earth, enveloped this space. In an instant, a huge black hole of about the same size as Bai Luo suddenly appeared behind it, with a dark breath of death in it. Zhang Leshan and Jiulai Qinglun looked at the unrivaled terrifying beast in front of them, and felt their hearts beating rapidly, and even a little breathless oppression. Could it be that I, Zhang Leshan, have just been promoted to an epic master, and I will die in this remote Nanch River? Zhang Leshan's pale face actually showed a trace of despair. Let me ask a question. I clearly update twice a day. Why do readers always say that I update once, and even abandon a book because of one update? Did you skip the subscription? No wonder my subscription is bleak now. The subscription of the first chapter every day is always much less than that of the second chapter. I thought you liked to skip reading. Chapter 184 Bai Luo gets fat. Bai Luo didn't care about Zhang Leshan in front of him at all. His first target was not the beasts and humans, but the secret realm of Nanch River beside him. At this time, he tilted his head to look at the secret realm. The deep and vast black hole behind him suddenly surged with terrifying devouring power towards the secret realm, blocking and devouring this independent space. Compared with using the skill of refining mountains and seas to devour the inferior life essence forcibly condensed by the life of the beasts, Bai Luo prefers to use the pure energy of the secret realm to brew a pure resurrection spirit crystal for Chen Wei, refining mountains and seas, create a black hole that can turn everything into nothingness. All targets swallowed by the black hole will be transformed into the source of power of the user and the consumption of casting this skill. It can also create a top-level resurrection spirit crystal that can bring the dead back to life. It is an 8th-level legendary skill. Seeing this shocking scene, Zhang Leshan's face changed, and he quickly ordered, 9 Thunder Arclight. The 9 Thunder Blue spread its wings, and the thunder source power that permeated the sky and the earth quickly rioted. The thunder light suddenly rose, and a colorful and huge thunder light column mixed with various source power attributes condensed behind it. Facing this astonishing thunder, Bai Luo, who had been unsealed, turned out to be nothing. His attention was still focused on the purification and absorption of the secret realm. Seeing this, a flash of anger flashed in the eyes of the 9 Thunder Blue Luan, and the source power in his body was vented all over the world. The power of the already powerful thunder light column was greatly enhanced, emitting a breathtaking and magnificent power. Boom! The magnificent and dazzling thunder light column heavily bombarded Bai Luo's 10,000-meter body, and endless thunderstorms exploded one after another, setting off a large area of dazzling lightning. Let's retreat first. Through the earth-shaking sense of oppression, Zhang Leshan naturally knew the horror of the giant beast in front of him. He didn't even pay attention to the damage caused by the 9 Thunder Arclight, and hurriedly urged his pet 9 Thunder Blue Luan to retreat strategically. Upon hearing this, the 9 Thunder Blue Luan's wings vibrated rapidly, and its figure retreated violently, turning into a colorful rainbow of light and leaving this place at the speed of lightning. In this regard, Bai Luo did not make a move to stop it. What kind of monster is this? It can actually become stronger again. In the battle control room, everyone looked at the normal source energy value detected by the Sky Eye, which was constantly soaring at a speed visible to the naked eye. Their faces were full of tension, and even Tang Bailan couldn't help swallowing her throat. 6 million. 10 million. 15 million. This giant beast is actually a 7th level middle level overlord. Zhang Shishi was actually defeated. Looking at the figure fleeing in a panic on the big screen, even Tang Bailan, who had experienced hundreds of battles, couldn't help but have a blank mind. Is Cheng Market going to be destroyed today? On the other side, Zhang Leshan, who was fleeing at high speed, had a gloomy face and was full of humiliation. He didn't expect that the first battle after he was promoted to an epic strongman would be a Waterloo and Cheng Market. If it weren't for the remaining reason in his heart reminding him, he would have gone back to fight this mysterious beast to the death. Bai Luo couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief when he noticed that the strong man who almost threatened it retreated in embarrassment. The battle between overlords is difficult to determine the winner in a short period of time. In order to create more life essence as soon as possible, it really has no extra time to waste. After no one stopped it, the following swallowing process went very smoothly, and most of the secret realm energy was gathered and fused together by Bai Luo. Finally, the dark green crystal on Bai Luo's chest burst into a dazzling flame, and a spiritual crystal about the size of an egg, with clear edges and corners in crystal clear colors, appeared in its palm. Looking at the resurrection crystal on his palm, which was like a miniature sun and exuded a warm breath, the scarlet color in Bai Luo's eyes began to fade, gradually revealing the original green pupils. Resurrection crystal, an energy crystal that is compressed and condensed into a point by the secret realm's pure source power and then fused with Bai Luo's essence in blood to produce a qualitative change. It has an incredible rich vitality and has the effect of resurrecting the dead, extending life by 100 years, and improving cultivation. Seeing that his goal was successfully achieved, Bai Luo's huge body that was enough to cover the sky and the sun quickly shrank until it was barely visible, and finally slowly disappeared on the Nansh River. On the other side, watching the mysterious beast slowly disappear on the big screen, Tang Bailan's face showed a hint of relief, and then her face suddenly became serious. Send all the information of this dragon species to the Hanyuan Provincial Beast Taming Association. As for the specific treatment of this dragon species, it is no longer something that our Changji market can interfere with. Understood, Shi Shuiyan nodded. At this moment, the door of the control room suddenly opened, and Zhang Leshan, who was handsome and always spotless, hurried in. Tang Bailan hurriedly went up to him and said gratefully, "Thank you for helping Zhang Shishi and repelling the beast. We saved Changji Market and the secret realm of Nansh River." Although it was unknown why the beast chose to retreat in the end, there was no doubt that the appearance of Zhang Shishi was indispensable. Hearing this, Zhang Leshan was slightly stunned, and then turned to look at the mess of Nansh River on the big screen. The figure of the majestic beast had disappeared at some point. Zhang Leshan. In the spiritual planned space. At this time, Chen Wei was lying on the beach. On his chest was Yutong, who was practicing with her eyes closed, and on his right was Kei Ling, who is meditating and practicing. He looked up at the blue sky with a look of distress on his face. What kind of miraculous effect does the Jiaolong Dragon Yuan contained in Kei Ling have that it can attract the covetousness of the King Beastmaster? Chen Wei thought to himself. In addition to Bai Luo, who suddenly disappeared, only the mysterious woman who appeared inexplicably made him a little worried. Compared to an exposed king enemy, he was more afraid that Kei Ling would be coveted by a group of king-level strongmen. Just when Chen Wei was puzzled, Bai Luo's figure quietly appeared in the spiritual planned space. Looking at the vigorous and powerful Beastmaster lying on the beach, Bai Luo's originally sad eyes suddenly widened. Chirp, Cyrillic lettered X, Chen Wei is alive. It wiped its eyes in disbelief. Hearing the sound, Chen Wei turned around and saw Bai Luo with a shocked face. He subconsciously breathed a sigh of relief. It's good that you're okay. Then, Chen Wei's face showed a hint of suspicion again. Oh, what a fat carrot. Strange, I haven't seen it for 2 days. How come Bai Luo has gained so much weight again? You know, Bai Luo's figure before could only be considered slightly fat at most, but now he has gained 2 circles of weight, and even his body width is almost half of his height. Bai Luo didn't think too much about it and threw himself excitedly into Chen Wei's arms. Chapter 185 King's Property. Bai Luo, you've gained weight. Chen Wei extended his right hand and gently stroked Bai Luo's head. She was cute when she was slightly fat before, but now she looks a bit more honest. Chirp, oh, not fat? Bai Luo shook his head quickly. Chen Wei smiled dumbly, and then his eyes inadvertently caught two familiar rings on Bai Luo's little hand, and his pupils shrank suddenly. If he was not mistaken, this high-level star ring should be the star ring on the finger of the female king and Zhang Yebin's space ring. The star ring is the most important equipment and property for the Beastmaster, but now it appears in Bai Luo's hands, which means that the king has fallen. Thinking of this, Chen Wei's face lit up, and then he quickly checked Bai Luo's physical condition. Looking at Bai Luo, who is unharmed in his arms, Chen Wei's eyes showed some excitement. Originally, he thought he needed to hide in the spiritual plant space for some time to avoid the limelight. I didn't expect that Bai Luo, who looked naive, was so powerful. It only took a short while to solve a powerful King Beastmaster. Even the famous King Beastmaster was solved by Bai Luo. It seems that Bai Luo's strength is even stronger than I imagined. Seeing Chen Wei's eyes focused on his hand, Bai Luo's eyes lit up, and he handed the two rings on his left hand to his Beastmaster like offering treasures. And its right hand holding the Resurrection Spirit Crystal was quietly placed behind its back, and then slowly integrated into its body for preservation. Obviously, it chose to escape without knowing how to explain the source of this Spirit Crystal to Chen Wei. As for how long it can be concealed, it all depends on when the Beastmaster can discover the damage he has caused in the secret realm of Nanch River. At the same time, Kai Ling, who is meditating, noticed the star ring in Bai Luo's hand and opened his eyes immediately. So this is Bai Luo's strength? I am still too weak. Kai Ling's eyes flashed with determination, and then slowly closed her eyes. I absolutely cannot slack off now, I have to become stronger. Chen Wei pointed at himself and asked curiously, are these two rings for me? Chirp, yes. Bai Luo happily raised the ring in his palm. Having followed Chen Wei for a long time, he naturally knew the importance of the star ring to the Beastmaster. These two rings were left by him for Chen Wei, otherwise they would have been swallowed and annihilated by him long ago. Chen Wei happily took the silver-white ring from Bai Luo's hand, and then activated the Identification Spirit Eye, Space Teleport Ring. You can freely set two anchor points and teleport. Anchor points within a distance of 150 kilometers are in an activated state. You can reach the anchor points with just a thought, and you can also teleport randomly within the teleportation distance. You can carry up to 2 additional people, and a 6th level space source device. Wow, it turned out to be a rare 6th level space source device. Although Chen Wei didn't know much about the market of space source devices, he knew that this small space ring in front of him was worth at least hundreds of millions, or even billions. Now the small goals needed for Yutong's evolution were gathered together, but he didn't want to sell them. Instead, he wanted to keep them for himself. Although Kai Ling and Bai Luo both have space attributes and can teleport, this space ring should not be of much use to him. But it is not the case. For Chen Wei, with his teleportation ring in his hand, his trump card for saving his life has increased by 1. If he had such a high-level teleportation ring in his hand before, he would not have consumed a quarter of the undead dragon blood because of the ambush of the king-level strongman. Although Chen Wei was resurrected and practiced the first level of the Tyrant Dragon secret record, his strength was greatly improved, and he could even fight the 3rd level high-level extraordinary and win. His strength has completely crushed Yutong, who is currently in the lower 2nd level, but he still feels very bad. After all, this is an 8th level resource that can be resurrected. According to the current stock of undead dragon blood in his heart, he only has 1 chance to revive. Seeing his Beastmaster happy and disappointed, Bai Luo couldn't help scratching his little head. Seeing the doubt on Bai Luo's face, Chen Wei, who had reacted, couldn't help but cough dryly, and then naturally put the teleportation ring on his hand. In order to prevent the teleportation ring from being discovered, he planned to modify the appearance of the ring before leaving the spiritual plant space. Then, Chen Wei looked curiously at another high-level star ring. The star ring is different from other source devices. It has an excellent protection effect. Even if the owner has fallen, it is difficult for ordinary people to take out items from the star ring, unless it is opened by professionals. Chen Wei picked up the high-level star ring, dripped blood on it, closed his eyes and slowly attached his majestic mental power to the ring, trying to re-engage it with blood. It really doesn't work. Looking at the high-level star ring in his hand that could not recognize the owner, let alone check and take out the items inside. Chen Wei sighed helplessly. Originally, he wanted to see the wealth of the king-level Beastmaster, but the imagination was beautiful, and the reality was cruel. The treasure that could not be opened was the same as not having it. Chirp, don't like it? Bai Luo raised his head and asked in confusion. Chen Wei shook his head. No, I like it very much, but this star ring cannot be opened for the time being. Although he could find a professional to open this high-level star ring, the property in this star ring is the legacy of a king-level strongman. There must be many distinctive personal items in it. If it arouses suspicion and covetousness from others, it is easy to get into trouble. If you don't find a trustworthy professional, what's the difference between this and walking into a trap? In the final analysis, Chen Wei didn't know what the power behind the king-level Beastmaster was. Chirp, I'll try. Bai Luo held the high-level star ring in his hand, and a faint space ripple suddenly appeared around the star ring, and then it kept fluctuating, as if seeking resonance. Be careful, take your time, and try not to let the space inside the star ring collapse. Seeing that the originally dim high-level star ring was emitting a hazy glimmer in Bai Luo's hand, Chen Wei couldn't help but feel a little excited. This is the legacy of the king-level Beastmaster. If he can accept it all, then he won't take off directly. The more he looked forward to it, the more nervous he became. As Chen Wei felt that the days were long, a purple light flashed, and a tattered ancient book suddenly appeared in Bai Luo's hand. Chirp, =3, it's done, thank you for your hard work. Chen Wei's eyes lit up, and his face suddenly showed a bit of surprise. He didn't expect that Bai Luo was actually an expert in unlocking. Taking the star ring handed over, Chen Wei chose to recontract and recognize the master. Unlike the last time when the blood contract had no reaction, this time it was particularly smooth. I'm rich. Looking at the dazzling array of treasures inside the star ring, Chen Wei couldn't help but sigh. Chapter 186 Huge Harvest. How to relieve worries. Only to get rich. Looking at the numerous treasures in the high-level star ring, Chen Wei's regret for consuming a quarter of the immortal dragon blood suddenly disappeared. Even the corners of his mouth could not help but slightly rise, his face full of excitement. Not to mention other beast-controlling resources, the top-level fire source crystals, ice source crystals, and wood source crystals that can increase the speed of pet beast cultivation have piled up into 3 small hills inside the star ring. Each pile is estimated to have hundreds of crystals. This is an enormous fortune. Moreover, the 3 types of source crystals of ice, fire, and wood are exactly in line with the properties of the 3 pets. They can be used directly in cultivation, and the gain effect obtained is much stronger than the intermediate source crystals that Chen Wei had prepared for the pet beasts before. This can save Chen Wei a lot of effort. You know, if a Beastmaster wants to buy top-level attribute source crystals, in addition to star coins, he also needs to have enough connections, otherwise he will have to buy them at a high price. Such a perfect beast controller resource that would perfectly fit the future development of his pet fell into his hands so easily. Chen Wei now felt like he was in a dream, and even had a sense of unreality. After looking at it for a while, Chen Wei reluctantly moved his eyes away from the 3 glittering source crystal hills, and then curiously looked at the neatly arranged jade boxes on the other side of the space. Chen Wei's mind moved, and 8 snow-white jade boxes that vaguely revealed their extraordinariness instantly appeared in front of him. At this moment, Yutong, who is immersed in cultivation, trembled slightly with her ears. She slowly opened her gem-like eyes and stared closely at the jade box that exuded a burning breath, revealing a bit of desire and yearning in her eyes. It looks like a high-level fire resource. Seeing this, Chen Wei smiled dumbly and chose to open this jade box first. The next second, a ray of extremely hot, strong and unruly golden fire rose from the box. The temperature around suddenly rose sharply, as if he was in a fire cage. Even the strong Chen Wei couldn't help feeling dry mouth. Then, a subtle dragon roar sounded, and the domineering dragon power spread out in an instant. A golden crystal about the size of a fist appeared in front of Chen Wei, Great Sun Fire Seed, a 7th-level fire and dragon dual-element resource. The Great Sun True Flame Fire Seed was bred by the 7th-level Overlord Great Sun Dragon through the life source fire. It can be used as a training or evolution material for fire-type pets. This fire contains the majestic power of the Great Sun Essence. If it is fully triggered and detonated in an instant, it will also have the terrifying power of burning the sky and boiling the sea. The information obtained by the identification of the spirit eye flashed through his mind, and Chen Wei couldn't help showing a touch of ecstasy on his face. Then he glanced at Bai Luo, who was staring at the broken ancient book beside him, with a puzzled face. A King Beastmaster actually has a 7th level resource on him. It is estimated that he is preparing in advance for the breakthrough and advancement of the pet in the future. Good fellow, could it be that the king level strongman that Bai Luo solved was also a king level peak existence? Chen Wei licked his lips and guessed in his heart. If this is true, Bai Luo's strength is likely to be stronger than he imagined, at least a king level peak or a half-step overlord, so that he can kill a peak king without any damage. If the guess is correct, with Bai Luo's protection, wouldn't he be able to walk sideways in Shushan City, and no longer have to worry about the covetousness of the King Beastmaster and hide Bai Luo in the spiritual plant space? Meow, I want it. Yutong looked at the big sunfire in the box and couldn't help asking. It can clearly feel that if this big sunfire can be completely refined, its strength will have a leap forward. Seeing Yutong, who has always been peaceful, asking for it, Chen Wei was a little stunned. Generally speaking, the high-level resources obtained by Beastmasters are usually used to cultivate their own pets, but before using them, they must also consider the strength of their own pets, whether it will force the growth of seedlings, etc. Yutong's current strength is only the lower 2nd level. Such a high level of fire is no longer a tonic but a poison to it. It's too early for you to use this fire. I'll refine it for you later, Chen Wei refused. Meow, it's okay, I can do it. Yutong shook her head with a serious expression. Hearing this, Chen Wei hesitated. Reason told him that he should refuse, but emotion told him to believe in his pet. After pondering for a moment, Chen Wei gritted his teeth and placed a big sunfire in front of Yutong. He warned with some worry, you can try, but if you find that something is wrong, you must stop immediately, understand? Then he turned his head and looked at Bai Luo, who was drowsy from reading a book. Bai Luo, you also take care of your sister. Chirp. No problem. Bai Luo immediately threw the boring ancient book in his hand to the ground, and then looked at Yutong curiously. Seeing the Beastmaster's agreement, Yutong's eyes flashed with anticipation, and she slowly approached the great sunfire on all fours. Then she closed her eyes slightly and carefully activated the skill of bathing in fire and swallowing flames. Under Chen Wei's nervous gaze, as Yutong's pink nose gently inhaled the fire, a wisp of almost imperceptible golden dragon-shaped flame shadow was slowly merging into Yutong's body. Yutong's body trembled slightly, and a light red-hot flame began to surge out of her body. It was obvious that she was trying her best to refine the great sun true flame that was pouring into her body. Time passed slowly, and during this period, Chen Wei had been using telekinesis to sense Yutong's physical condition. A faint dragon roar suddenly sounded, and a little bit of golden fire quietly appeared on the light red flame on Yutong's body, and the life source fire in her body began to slowly roar and transform. As the golden light became more and more intense, the color of Yutong's life source fire was also dyed deeper and deeper by the dazzling golden flame, and finally formed a red-gold flame. At the moment when the red-gold flame appeared, Yutong's breath suddenly soared, and the bright light of promotion suddenly bloomed. Its strength was also raised from the lower 2nd level to the middle 2nd level in this second. Seeing that Yutong successfully refined a wisp of energy from the great sunfire and successfully advanced, Chen Wei couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Bath in fire and devouring flames is indeed an extremely rare growth-type fire skill. It can even easily refine a wisp of flame from the great sun true flame. Chen Wei nodded with satisfaction. Since Yutong's process of refining flames is already very stable, then he can continue to open blind boxes with confidence. The first jade box I opened brought me such a big surprise. I don't know what kind of treasures are placed in the remaining 7 jade boxes. Thinking of this, Chen Wei turned his eyes to the exquisite jade box in front of him, his eyes full of expectation. His requirements are not high. He will be satisfied if he can open 1 or 2 more level 7 beast resources in the remaining jade boxes. Chapter 187 The Troubles of Happiness. This time, Chen Wei did not make a special selection. He glanced around and casually picked up a jade box and opened it. An ancient and dilapidated book suddenly appeared in front of him. Although it is a bit old, it is not worth much even if it is an ancient book. Looking at this ancient book with a long history, yellowed cover, serious missing pages, and only a few pages left, Chen Wei shook his head helplessly. On Blue Star, Beastmasters will choose to pass on some valuable knowledge and secrets to the next generation through inheritance source stones instead of recording them in books. After all, Knowledge recorded in books is easy to be lost or lost in history, and the inheritance source stones that are extremely solid and can withstand wind and rain can still perfectly preserve information under the long time unless they are deliberately destroyed by external forces. Therefore, generally only ordinary people or low-level beastmasters will record some important knowledge through books. But since this ancient book can be stored alone in the jade box, it means that the original owner attaches great importance to it. In order to avoid missing out on good things because of carelessness, even though Chen Wei felt that there was nothing special about this ancient book, he still patiently examined it several times. I really can't understand it, Chen Wei sighed helplessly as he looked at the difficult and obscure ancient texts on the ancient books. Although he was well educated and had extensive knowledge of alchemy and beast control, this kind of ancient text that couldn't make out the specific meaning still stumped him. These ancient texts seem to have many strokes, thin lines, and the strokes of the characters are mostly folded. They should be the texts before the star calendar and after the ancient times, Chen Wei thought to himself. After several careful inspections, Chen Wei's intuition told him that this book hides a lot of secrets. Unfortunately, if he were put in that wild era, he would be completely illiterate and couldn't understand the meaning of the book at all. Forget it, the next one. After thinking fruitlessly, Chen Wei cast his eyes on another jade box. After all, this is the internet age. Unless the text recorded in the ancient books is a particularly niche language, he still has many ways to figure out the meaning of this ancient book. Why is it a book again? Chen Wei scratched his head after opening the next jade box. Fortunately, unlike the tattered ancient book, this jade box opened a stack of brand new data files, and the text on it was also in the Donghu language that he could understand. New Experiment 0023. Experimental report on the feasibility of transforming ice and fire into dragons. Project leader, senior researcher Yin Tuangxin. Looking at the signature at the end of the experimental report in his hand, Chen Wei's pupils suddenly shrank. The king-level beastmaster who ambushed me turned out to be a senior researcher. You know, beastmasters who can become researchers are basically elites with profound knowledge and a lot of practical knowledge of exotic beast evolution. In this way, they can find the most stable and cost-effective evolution route among the endless evolution possibilities of exotic beasts. Therefore, beastmasters who can become researchers are generally from wealthy families. Otherwise they cannot support the large amount of beastmaster resources consumed by researchers when conducting exotic beast evolution experiments. It is so difficult for beastmasters to become ordinary researchers, let alone senior researchers. Every beastmaster who can obtain the title of senior researcher must at least meet one condition, that is, to discover a stable and safe evolutionary route for the brilliant king race. Thinking of this, Chen Wei couldn't help swallowing his throat. Good guy. Even a senior researcher coveted the Jiaolong Dragon Yuan on K Ling, and even violated the ban of the Beast Taming Association to attack and kill the beastmaster genius. It seems that the Jiaolong Dragon Yuan must have precious uses that he didn't know. Keeping the name Yin Tuangxin in mind, Chen Wei planned to go out of the spiritual plant space to learn about her information before considering whether to file a complaint. Even if Yin Tuangxin is a senior researcher and a king-level beastmaster, what does it matter? This kind of attack and killing behavior that blatantly violated the ban of the Beast Taming Association, he killed it for self-protection. After all, he also has a strong master as a backer, which is not false at all. The only question is how to explain that he, a new beastmaster, was able to complete the counterattack under the sneak attack of a king-level strongman. Thinking of this, Chen Wei sighed with a headache. If Bai Luo's existence is exposed, someone might think of him as a legendary dragon egg, and he would not be able to withstand the pressure from the legendary boss. After weighing the pros and cons, Chen Wei finally decided to confirm the power behind Yin Tuangxin before making a decision. Then a glimmer flashed between his fingers, and he put the Ice and Fire Dragon experiment report into the star ring. Next, Chen Wei had some guesses about the items in the remaining 5 jade boxes. As expected, the treasures placed in these jade boxes are basically the upgraded beast resources needed for the Ice and Fire Dragon experiment: Heart of the Balan Island Whale, a 7th level water resource. The energy heart of the 7th level Overlord Balan Island Whale can be used as the main material for the evolution of water-based pets or Ice and Fire Dragons. Hongyuang Red Crystal, a 7th level fire resource, a treasure level crystal formed by absorbing the essence of Hongyuang. It contains extremely pure fire source power. After absorption, it can greatly improve the strength of fire-based pets. and can also be used as a material for the evolution of fire-based overlords. Lunar Star Marrow, Level 7 Ice Resource, superior resource of cold domain star essence. After absorption and refining, it can increase the probability of ice pets advancing to overlord by 10%, and can also be used as materials for ice overlord evolution. Cold Flame Star Flower, Level 6 Ice and Fire Resources. After refining, pets have a certain chance of obtaining ice or fire attributes. It can also be used as materials for the evolution of ice and fire pets. Earth Barrier, Level 6 Middle Grade Earth Source Device. When the wearer is attacked, it will automatically trigger a protective shield that can withstand a full strength attack from a Level 6 middle level player. It can only be automatically triggered once a day. The wearer can also actively input source power, and according to the strength of the source power, a protective shield with different defensive capabilities can be formed. After reading the detailed information of these treasures through the identification spirit eyes, Chen Wei's face was full of excitement, and excitement that could not be concealed. This senior researcher's wealth is even richer than he imagined. There are 4 Level 7 Overlord Beast resources alone, and the number is even more than the Level 6 resources. Except for the Heart of the Balan Island Whale, which Chen Wei didn't know how to use, the rest of the high-level beast taming resources were perfectly compatible with Kai Ling and Yu Tong's attributes. Among them, what Chen Wei felt most sorry for was that there were no Level 7 wood-type beast taming resources in the Jade Box, and the only one that was related to the dragon element was the Great Sunfire Seed, which was completely incompatible with Bai Luo, who was of the wood element. This won't do. After all, he was able to escape by luck this time, all thanks to Bai Luo. Chen Wei tilted his head to glance at Bai Luo, who was looking at the beast taming resources with a silly smile on his face, and suddenly a feeling of happy worry surged up. How should I reward Bai Luo? Chapter 188 Skill Growth. Although Chen Wei knew that Bai Luo didn't care about these, as a beast master, he still wanted to express his gratitude. After all, the gift from Bai Luo was too generous. Thinking of this, Chen Wei looked at his palm, and a hint of ruthlessness flashed in his eyes. In addition to the strengthening of the dragon power, the beast resource on him was the high-level dragon crystal that Bai Luo liked the most. Unfortunately, because the strengthening of the dragon power of the pet beast usually consumed a lot of physical strength, coupled with Yu Yingxing's meditation practice, he has only strengthened 10 intermediate dragon crystals so far. I don't know if I can produce enough high-level dragon crystals in a short time after practicing the first level of the Tyrant Dragon secret record. However, unlike Chen Wei, who was full of fighting spirit, Bai Luo tilted his head at this time, yawned listlessly, and there was a hint of sleepiness in his small eyes. Seeing this, Chen Wei whispered, "Take a break if you're tired, don't force yourself, chirp, okay?" Bai Luo nodded obediently, then narrowed his eyes and went straight into Chen Wei's arms. After a while, a slight breathing sound gradually came out. Feeling Bai Luo's chubby body rising and falling slightly in his arms, Chen Wei couldn't help but feel a strong sense of security in his heart. With Bai Luo as a big thigh in his arms, no matter what the power behind Yin Twixen is, he has the confidence to deal with it. Then Chen Wei slowly placed his right hand on Bai Luo's shoulder, and the majestic dragon controlling power in his body poured out without reservation. Even if the high-level dragon crystal is strengthened at a fast speed, it will take some time to produce it. Now he just wants to give Bai Luo a comfortable potential enhancement. Sure enough, under the continuous nourishment of his dragon controlling power, Bai Luo's face gradually showed a comfortable and soft expression, and it seemed that he was immersed in a beautiful dream. An hour later, Chen Wei gently placed the sleeping Bai Luo on the grass, and his slightly tired face could not help but be a little more excited. This Tyrant Dragon secret record is indeed a magical skill from ancient times. You know, he used to need to drink Bai Luo's special spiritual liquid to persist in strengthening the dragon's power for 1 or 2 hours, but now he can persist in the same strengthening time with his own physical strength, and even has some spare strength left in his body. If it is matched with Bai Luo's special spiritual liquid, the speed of his pet strength growth and the efficiency of strengthening high-level dragon crystals will be multiplied several times in the future. This is an epic enhancement for Chen Wei. Just when he was ecstatic, a scorching breath suddenly burst out from Yu Tong's body, which immediately attracted Chen Wei's attention. At this time, Yu Tong's process of refining the Great Sun True Flame has come to an end, and the power of the red gold flame covering its body surface has begun to soar. The temperature around it rose by hundreds of degrees in an instant, and the violent flames that spread out even melted the ground on which it stood into a pool of boiling lava in an instant. What a terrifying source fire! Chen Wei's pupils suddenly shrank, and then a look of surprise appeared on his face. Since Yutong's life source firepower has been greatly enhanced, the flame power he shared through the red cloud flame array will also be greatly increased. Thinking of this, Chen Wei sensed the red cloud talisman array that was shining on his own source star, and his mind moved, and a pale golden blazing flame suddenly rose in his hand. As the 2 rounds of red gold flames rose, the temperature in the spiritual plant space suddenly soared. Seeing that the grass under his feet seemed to be emitting white smoke due to the rapid increase in temperature, Chen Wei quickly stopped the operation of the red cloud flame array. This is his planting base, and it doesn't matter if some weeds are burned. If the temperature is too high and affects the growth of spiritual medicine in the medicine field, then he will lose a lot. Meow. The light of promotion gradually dissipated. Yutong opened his eyes, felt the firepower in his body, couldn't help but shout a few times excitedly, and then rushed towards his Beastmaster. Chen Wei casually hugged the fluffy ball that flew towards him and directly activated his identification spirit eye, bathe in fire and swallow flame, a 5th level growth type fire skill. Bathed in fire, nothing can invade, and you can walk in the flames. Looking at this growth type race skill that has jumped 2 levels, Chen Wei was slightly stunned. I didn't expect that this big sunfire seed would be so powerful. Just a wisp of flame can make Yutong's race skills grow so much? It is worthy of being a level 7 overlord resource. Longking City, Yin Family Meeting Hall. This exquisitely decorated hall is full of valuable furniture and crafts. A piece of transparent and crystal like a mirror, made of a whole piece of high-grade crystal raw stone as raw material, and then made by a famous artist, is sitting next to a luxurious round table with 2 men and 1 woman, 3 beastmasters with extraordinary temperament. On the left side of the main seat, a lady with gorgeous clothes and still charming looks seems to have a bit of sadness on her face. This noble lady is none other than Yin Twixin's mother, Yu Yanglin, a king-level beastmaster and director of the 2nd Research Institute of Longking City. According to the news from the Changji City Beastmaster Association, the young lady mysteriously disappeared after fighting with an unknown 7th level overlord in Chengdu Mountain, the housekeeper said solemnly. Upon hearing this, Yu Yanglin looked a little dazed and said, "Have you confirmed the authenticity of the news? Is Tongxin missing or dead?" As a top researcher, no one in the hall knows the huge gap between the king and the overlord better than her. Even a peak king-level powerhouse can only last a few rounds in front of an epic overlord. If a fight really happens, with Twixin's strength, the possibility of survival is extremely low. We are still trying our best to find the young lady's trace. The housekeeper bowed his head and replied. At this time, a gloomy and uneasy man in the main seat suddenly said in a stern voice, "No matter what, I want to see the body alive or dead within 3 days. He is Yin Twixin's father, Yin Kangping, the current head of the Yin family, and also the vice president of the Longking City Beast Taming Association and a famous top-level beast master in Longking City." Understood, the housekeeper said. Yu Yanglin, who was upset, said in a cold voice, "How do you plan to deal with that overlord beast?" Yin Kangping said in a deep voice. If it weren't for the recent heritage ruins that attracted the attention of most of the epic-level powerhouses in Hanyang province, a 7th-order overlord-level beast alone would not have caused such a big storm. If it dares to show up again and make a fuss, it will definitely die. Yu Yanglin's expression became more and more indifferent. Yin Kangping, do you mean to let go of the beast that killed your daughter? Hearing this, Yin Kangping's eyes darkened. You also know the strength of our Yin family. We can't pose any threat to the overlord beast at all. Chapter 189 The Epic of the Yin Family. I was really blind to fall for you. Yu Yanglin was furious, and then left the meeting hall quickly. As the top East Tamer family in the 2nd-tier city of Longking, the strength of the Yin family's ancestors has reached the epic peak. If Yin Kangping can ask his own ancestors to take action, a lone 7th-level overlord beast is nothing. He didn't even dare to disturb the ancestor when his own daughter died. How could the man he fell in love with be so useless? Looking at Yu Yanglin's back as she left sadly, Yin Kangping slowly lowered his eyes, as if trying to hide his inner emotions. As everyone knows, the lifespan of an epic beast tamer is only about 500 years, and his ancestor is over 470 years old this year, and his time is running out. In order to break through the legend and live again, the ancestor has now been in the dead gate for 30 years. Unless the family is in a desperate situation, let alone his daughter's death, even if he, the head of the family, dies, it is impossible to let the ancestor who is trying to break through the legend come out. It is precisely for this reason that he is now only the vice president of the Longking City Beast Taming Association, not the president of the association. As the saying goes, when people leave, the tea gets cold. Now that the ancestor has not left yet, the power of the Yin family has already declined a bit, which shows that other forces are not optimistic about their ancestor's ability to break through the legend. After all, in the eyes of outsiders, the age of the Yin family's ancestor is too old, and the chance of breaking through the legend is extremely slim. After sitting there and pondering for a while, Yin Kangping took out his mobile phone. His expression was a little uncertain. In the end, he gritted his teeth and dialed a number that had existed in the address book for many years but was almost never dialed. In the spiritual plant space, a necklace of the earth barrier that flashes with amber light, engraved with many fine runes on the silver chain, exuding an elegant and smart blood covenant, is being held in Chen Wei's hand. In addition to the star ring, some high-level source devices also need to recognize the master through the blood covenant before they can be driven like an arm, especially defensive source devices like the earth barrier that will automatically trigger after being attacked. After doing blood covenants more often, you will naturally become proficient. Chen Wei skillfully took out a blood-drawing needle. He first stripped the blood on the amber gem of the necklace, and then merged it with the earth barrier through his mental power to recognize the master. The next second, the amber gem lighted up slightly, and the majestic earth source power surged out from the earth barrier, outlining a huge barrier shadow, and then slowly dissipated. Wearing this earth barrier necklace that can automatically protect the master close to his body, Chen Wei nodded with satisfaction. Life-saving trump card +1. After dealing with his spoils, Chen Wei turned to Bai Luo and said, "We should go home. After hiding for so long, it's time to go home and rest for a while." Chirp, Greek letter omega, okay, Bai Luo nodded nervously. Sensing that Bai Luo was a little bit wrong, Chen Wei frowned slightly and asked softly, "Are you hiding something?" Bai Luo's body stiffened, and his two small hands behind his back moved nervously. Chirp. Oh, no. Seeing that Bai Luo couldn't even lie, Chen Wei couldn't help but smile. Forget it, if you don't want to say it, don't say it. He didn't want to force Bai Luo. After all, it was Bai Luo who saved him, no matter what it did. Chen Wei expressed his understanding. "It's time to go, Kai Ling." As soon as Chen Wei finished speaking, a crisp dragon roar sounded. Yi, okay, Kai Ling's originally huge body quickly shrank, and soon, a petite and miniature dragon instantly wrapped around Chen Wei's arm. At this time, it was late at night, and the bright white moonlight sprinkled on the ground. The air around Chengdu Mountain was filled with a dry and dead atmosphere, and then waves of imperceptible space ripples appeared. Is this the towering mountain from before, standing inside the spiritual plant space, looking at the small hills that were raised to the ground and even desertified, as well as the beast masters who were working hard to survey and inspect? Chen Wei couldn't help swallowing his throat, and his eyes subconsciously glanced at Bai Luo in his arms. Wow, the combat power of the king-level beastmaster is so strong that he can even flatten a mountain with an altitude of more than 1,000 meters. Upon noticing the gaze of the beastmaster, Bai Luo immediately closed his eyes, with a silly look that said, "I don't know anything." Seeing this, Chen Wei smiled dumbly. He would not blame Bai Luo for such a thing because he was not qualified. However, Bai Luo's special ability is really powerful. He can even project the scene of his previous location in the spiritual plant space. Chirp, oh, there are a lot of beastmasters there. Bai Luo's voice suddenly rang in Chen Wei's mind. Chen Wei's eyes suddenly condensed. How many are there exactly? Chirp, 153, and there are still a few with strong auras that have not been checked for a fear of being discovered. Sure enough, the Battle of Kings is not a trivial matter. It has caused such a big commotion all of a sudden. It would be strange if the Beast Taming Association did not send someone to investigate, Chen Wei thought to himself. It is impossible to show up. If you go out, there will probably be a fight. I can only say that I will find a chance to make up for it later. Chen Wei, one look is enough, and then we will go home directly. Chirp, oh, okay. Seeing that the Beastmaster did not care about the damage he caused, Bai Luo, who was originally listless because of guilty conscience, suddenly became energetic again, and then began to sense the anchor point he left in the villa. Back to the villa, seeing that it was already dark, Chen Wei, who had used the power of dragon control to strengthen Bai Luo for a whole night, only felt a wave of sleepiness. "Good night, we should rest." After saying that, without waiting for the pet to reply, Chen Wei, who was already running low on energy, simply closed his eyes and soon fell asleep. Bai Luo scratched his head and lay directly on Chen Wei's left hand, while Yu Tuang got into the bed. Looking at the sleeping beastmaster in a daze, Kailing's eyes flashed with a trace of determination, and then quietly floated to the courtyard to continue practicing. "My current strength is not enough, I have to become stronger." The next morning, the morning sun shone through the window onto the bed. As the alarm on the mobile phone rang, Kailing sprayed a slight cold air from her mouth, gently waking up Chen Wei, who ignored the alarm. "Hiss, so cold." Chen Wei slowly opened his eyes, and at first glance he saw the elegant light golden pupils staring at him. "Good morning, Kailing." Chen Wei smiled embarrassedly. It seems that he has been too tired recently, and he can't even hear the alarm ring. "Yi, it's time to practice." Kailing was a little angry. It was already so late, and she was still sleeping in. Understood, get up now." Chen Wei looked at the high-spirited Kailing and said helplessly. "Really, I haven't seen Kailing with such a serious attitude for a long time. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 190, Treasure Spirit Crystal. After breakfast, Chen Wei picked up his phone and planned to search for some information about Yin Twixen on the internet. However, the first thing that caught his eye were two unread messages from President Meng. The general meaning of these two messages was that a 7th-level overlord suddenly appeared in Changji City. Was his journey back to Shushan City smooth and effective? 7th-level overlord. Seeing this, Chen Wei's pupils shrank, and his eyes subconsciously glanced at Bai Luo, who was playing with Yu Tuang and smiling, and quickly replied to President Meng's message. This surprise came too suddenly. Originally, he thought Bai Luo was only at the peak of the king or a half-step overlord. Now it seems that he underestimated Bai Luo's strength. So Chen Wei quickly searched for the information of the 7th-level overlord that appeared in Changji City to see if it was Bai Luo. The citizens of Changji City are taking refuge collectively. Is it because of the alien beasts attacking the city or epic battle? Zhang Shishi used his divine power to force back the mysterious overlord dragon species. Due to the attack of the alien beasts, the level of the Nanch River secret realm has dropped significantly, and it has completely fallen into a wild-level secret realm. Its value has plummeted, and Changji City may lose billions of star coins, turning everything into nothingness and devouring the dragon of the secret realm. Where did this mysterious dragon species come from? Looking at the horrifying news on the screen and the picture of the giant beast that was enough to cover the sky and the sun, Chen Wei's heart skipped a beat, and his face showed an incredible expression. I must have made a mistake. Bai Luo is less than half a meter tall. How could he be that extremely terrifying 7th-level overlord? Chen Wei looked at Bai Luo, who was beside him, with a naive look on his face. As if he noticed his gaze, Bai Luo smiled in confusion, which was harmless to humans and animals. Seeing this, Chen Wei was relieved and laughed dryly twice. It seems to be a coincidence. How could Bai Luo go to destroy the Nanch River secret realm for no reason? However, when he thought of the mountain that was razed to the ground by Bai Luo, the large number of beastmasters that appeared on the mountain, and the extremely short distance between the Nanch River secret realm and Chengdu Mountain, Chen Wei couldn't help but have an ominous premonition in his mind. His extremely sensitive intuition told him that there are not so many coincidences in this world. After pondering for a while, Chen Wei finally held a glimmer of hope, pointed his finger at the huge mosaic figure on the mobile phone screen and asked Bai Luo, "Is this you?" Seeing the picture, Bai Luo's originally silly little face suddenly froze. It's over. Chen Wei's heart skipped a beat. He didn't even have to wait for Bai Luo to answer. He could get a definite answer just from the expression on Bai Luo's face. Chen Wei took a deep breath and tried to suppress the excitement in his heart. There was no way. Bai Luo's impact this time was too great, and the weak him couldn't cover it at all. Why? Chen Wei asked softly. Compared with this kind of news whose authenticity was unknown, he believed Bai Luo's answer more. Finding that the atmosphere at the table suddenly became wrong, Kailing and Yu Tuang looked at Bai Luo in surprise. Chirp, Greek letter omega. Because of this, Bai Luo clenched her hands behind her back and then handed them to Chen Wei. What is it? Hearing this, Bai Luo opened her fist, revealing an egg-sized, angular, diamond-like, bright and clear crystal that exuded a vitality. Chen Wei looked at the crystal in front of him and couldn't help but use his perspective eyes to check it out. Resurrection Crystal, a 7th level wood resource with an incredible and rich vitality. It has the magical effect of improving cultivation, resurrecting from the dead, and extending life by 100 years. Looking at the resurrection and life extension effects shown in the appraisal results, Chen Wei's pupils suddenly shrank, and his heart was like a raging sea. Throughout the ages, immortality has always been the goal that humans yearn for. Even the exotic beasts with long lifespans have an instinctive desire for immortality. Compared to the limited resurrection, immortality through life extension is the goal pursued by most beast masters whose lifespans are exhausted. You know, the reason why Chen Wei was able to be resurrected by the undead dragon blood is because his strength is too low. The 8th level Emperor resources alone are enough to revive him with full blood, and even greatly enhance his strength. If it were an ordinary epic master who died, even if the undead dragon blood in Chen Wei's body was exhausted, he could not be resurrected, because the amount of undead dragon blood in his body was too little. In the final analysis, the body and soul of the epic masters are too powerful, resulting in extremely terrifying energy consumption for them to be resurrected from the dead. To completely revive a 7th level epic master, it is impossible to rely on the 7th and 8th level resurrection resources alone. Only the legendary 9th level demigod resources can be successful. As for legendary masters above the 8th level, there has been no record of successful resurrection through beast resources in Donghu history. However, beast resources with life extension effects are different. How much effect this kind of life-extending resource can have does not depend on the strength of the beast master, but on how much life-extending resources the beast master has used. In other words, the more the beast master uses the same kind of life-extending resource, the worse the effect, until it is even useless in the end. Therefore, in the eyes of the powerful above the legendary level, the value of the Beastmaster resources with life-extending effects far exceeds that of other Beastmaster resources. After all, Beastmaster resources that can extend life are too rare. Even for the Beastmasters, it is a blessing to be able to obtain a life-extending elixir, let alone two. Chen Wei has seen several rare Beastmaster resources that can extend life by 10 years in the Beastmaster illustrations, but without exception, all of them are written as extinct. As for whether they are really extinct, only the person who compiled the illustrations knows. Even for the rare Beastmaster resources that can only extend life by 10 years, there are many legendary strongmen who are close to their lifespans and fight for them in history, not to mention the Resurrection Spirit Crystal in front of Chen Wei that can extend life by 100 years. As we all know, the Blue Star has abundant source power. If you are not a Beastmaster, the lifespan of an ordinary person can reach more than 150 years old at most. After becoming a Beastmaster, if you fail to successfully break through to the King level, your lifespan will be reduced to about 100 years. Therefore, some researchers suspect that when humans awaken the Source Star, they need to consume their innate life source, which leads to a reduction in lifespan. There are many researchers who advocate this view, but no researcher has been able to confirm this conjecture so far. In other words, the Resurrection Crystal in Bai Luo's hand alone is equivalent to the lifespan of a Master Beastmaster, or 1/3 of the lifespan of a King-level strongman. At this time, Chen Wei, who knew the preciousness of the Resurrection Crystal, couldn't help swallowing his throat. If a legendary strongman knew that Bai Luo's swallowing of the secret realm could create such a treasure that can both resurrect and prolong life, let alone one secret realm, even 10 secret realms would be willing to give up. Chapter 191, Ice and Fire Dragon. Chirp, this is for you. Seeing that the Beastmaster's eyes were fixed on the spirit crystal, as if he loved it very much, Bai Luo, who felt a little guilty, said timidly. Hearing this, Chen Wei was moved and rubbed Bai Luo's head. Thank you for your hard work. Keep the spirit crystal for yourself first, and I will ask you for it when I need it. Compared with putting it in his own star ring, Chen Wei felt more at ease to put such a precious beast resource on the powerful Bai Luo. If you were to eat the spirit crystal directly now, Chen Wei would be reluctant to do so. After all, this resurrection spirit crystal is a treasure that can save lives at a critical moment. Even if the behavior of devouring the secret realm is discovered by the Beastmaster Association, this precious spirit crystal alone is enough to ensure the safety of him and Bai Luo. In Chen Wei's view, the mistakes made by his pet are equivalent to his own mistakes. There is no difference between the two, So he is now also one of the participants in the devouring of the secret realm. Chirp, okay. Realizing that the Beastmaster had no intention of blaming him, Bai Luo immediately happily put away the spirit crystal. Seeing that Bai Luo had returned to his previous full of vitality, Chen Wei couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. After all, Bai Luo swallowed the secret realm for himself, and he must bear this responsibility. Then Chen Wei thought with some distress, just because I can't afford to pay now doesn't mean I can't afford to pay in the future. It seems that I can only find a chance to compensate in the future. Chen Wei picked up his mobile phone and planned to continue searching for specific information about Yin Twixen on the internet. The matter of the secret realm will be discussed later. After all, Bai Luo only appeared that time, and it is difficult for the Beastmaster Association to find Bai Luo's subsequent traces. Now his most important thing is to find out the family information of Jiaolong Longyun and Yin Twixen. Otherwise, there might be another Beastmaster who would ambush and kill him. In order to prevent his behavior from being discovered, Chen Wei could only use obscure methods to search. No, this one is not either. Looking at the information displayed on the screen, Chen Wei scratched his head. As expected of a senior researcher, the confidentiality level is extremely high. With his current authority as a mid-level Beastmaster, he can't find any information about Yin Twixen. Chen Wei shook his head and planned to find another way. Unknowingly, half an hour passed. The Yin family in Qingfen City, the Yin family in Longqing City, and the Yin family in Shanghong City, now these three second-tier cities have the greatest suspicion of Beastmaster families. Chen Wei touched his chin, and a trace of relief flashed in his eyes. The Yin Beastmaster families in these three cities are of varying strengths, but the strongest ones in the open are only king-level Beastmasters. The only difficult one is the Yin family in Longqing City. It is said that there are epic masters in charge, but it is just a rumor. Based on the current situation, there is no need for me to show my cards and complain to my master. Chen Wei smiled slightly. Even if Yin Twixen left a message to the family before attacking me, in the absence of evidence. As one of the best Beastmaster talents of the new generation in Hanyang Province and a student of Director Han of Zidian University, I don't need to worry about open retaliation. As for the Yin family's revenge in secret, Bai Luo, who has reached the 7th level of strength, is enough to sweep away all the monsters. Moreover, it is still unclear whether Yin Twixen left any specific information. An hour later. Some information about the Yin family can still be found, but there is no information about the Jiaolong Dragon Yuan at all. Looking at the Dragon Beast resources displayed on the screen, Chen Wei was thoughtful, and then took out the 15 obscure ancient books obtained from Yin Twixen's advanced star ring, and prepared to translate them in order of importance: the Dominant Dragon, the Secret Record of Dragon Transformation, the Record of All Beasts, the Record of Dragon God. Because Chen Wei's mental power is extremely strong and his learning and comprehension ability is also extraordinary, his work of translating ancient books is slow, but it is still smooth. Looking at the translated ancient book of the Dominant Dragon, Chen Wei's eyes flashed with surprise. The extremely arrogant time-candle dragon possessed eternal time at the moment of its birth. Even if time passes and the world changes, the time-candle dragon is still immortal, and will even become stronger with the passage of time. Even the eternal life that humans pursue is nothing more than a piece of cake in its eyes. It is also one of the rarest and most powerful masters of the Dragon Clan, the Sky Brilliant Dragon, who yearns for mystery, likes to roam around in the turbulence of space, pursuing unexpected surprises in its eyes. Wherever the Brilliant Dragon passes, the world is quietly born. It is the incarnation of the world, a part of space, and one of the rarest and most powerful masters of the Dragon Clan, the Ice and Fire Dragon, formed by the interweaving of the origin of ice and fire, possesses endless energy. It is the embodiment of power and a terrifying dragon that represents destruction. Because of his love for destroying everything, he is the enemy of the Kongdian Wanglong, who is good at creating the world. The two masters often fight, but it is difficult to tell who will win. Only the Time Candle Dragon, which is slightly stronger, can stop the world destroying battle between the two. He is also one of the rarest and most powerful masters of the Dragon Clan. What a crazy behavior. Is Yin Twixen trying to create a god by herself and trying to study the Ice and Fire Dragon recorded in this ancient book? Thinking of the previous Ice and Fire Dragon experiment report, and looking at the broken ancient book in his hand, Chen Wei was shocked by Yin Twixen's ambition, and couldn't help but feel ridiculous for her overestimation. What a joke! If the records in the ancient books are true, What is the difference between such a master dragon and a god who can create the world? Not to mention that Yin Twixin is just a king-level beast master. Even if she is a legend, or even the legendary immortal demigod, it is impossible to create such a master dragon. Chen Wei suppressed the shock in his heart and shook his head slowly. No, maybe it's not about creating a god. Yin Twixin may also want to evolve an epic overlord dragon that masters the power of ice and fire based on the power of the dragon master in the ancient books. Thinking of this, Chen Wei couldn't help but smile. Either the real dragon with the two attributes of ice and fire is the legendary ice and fire dragon, or K-Ling with the space attribute can become the legendary sky dragon. The alien beast has the space attribute and becomes a part of the original incarnation of space. It is completely different, and even fundamentally different. Yin Twixin's so-called ice and fire dragon is just an experiment that fails to draw a tiger and draws a dog. Although Chen Wei thought so in his mind, he still treasured the ice and fire experiment data that he had thrown aside before. After all, even if it can't become an ice and fire dragon, it would be a good thing if this experimental data can perfectly add a fire attribute to K-Ling's next race evolution. What's more, if K-Ling can get a few points of the power of the dominant dragon in the future ice and fire evolution, then he will take off directly. Chapter 192 Game Carrot. Time Candle Dragon, Sky Brilliant Dragon, Ice and Fire Dragon. After reading most of the legendary dragon race information, Chen Wei's heart moved and he couldn't help looking in the direction of the courtyard. If the information recorded in the ancient books is true, perhaps he can try to train K-Ling's wind and rain calling skill to the perfect level, and then refer to the legendary ice and fire dragon for evolution. After all, wind and rain calling is the core race skill of K-Ling's evolution into a dragon. The higher the level of skill mastery, the higher the upper limit of the dragon transformation. Even if the ice and fire dragon data left by Yin Twixin contains some defects, the fusion evolution experiment between ice and fire will also cause confrontation and conflict, but K-Ling's perfect level of wind and rain calling plus the potential of the heavenly grade top grade may directly break the routine and perfectly integrate the two attributes of ice and fire, thus creating a new form of dragon. This new true dragon evolution form can crush most of the epic true dragon races in Donghuo's domestic beast management illustrations, even if it is only 1% of the power of the original ice and fire dragon. Chen Wei put away the ancient book in his hand, and the more he thought about it, the more he felt that this evolution method was feasible. If he didn't need to find out the specific information of Jiaolong Dragon Yuan so that he could have a clear idea, he would have taken K-Ling to the spiritual plant space to practice calling the wind and rain. Picking up the second ancient book on the table, The Secret Record of Dragon Transformation, Chen Wei felt relieved. Just looking at the cover of the book, this time it is an ancient text of Wei state during the period of hegemony among the various countries, compared with a previous ancient book of the dominant dragon, which was extremely obscure and difficult to understand. This ancient text of Wei state, which was only more than 2,000 years old, was easier to translate. The sublimation of Jiaolong Dragon Yuan? No other beast control resources are needed. The sublimated Dragon Yuan and the 6th level magic core are fused to form a real Dragon Ball to become a hegemonic real dragon species, and Jiaolong Dragon Yuan also has the effect of helping the king's pet to upgrade to epic. Looking at the information recorded in the secret record of dragon transformation, Chen Wei's pupils suddenly shrank. The effect of Jiaolong Dragon Yuan is so powerful that it is no wonder that there are king-level strongmen who are not moral and come to ambush and attack a young beast control master like him. However, I couldn't find any information about Jiaolong Longyun after searching the internet, which means that the information about Longyun has long been blocked or disappeared in history. Besides, when I participated in the beast control competition, even a big man like President Wu showed no greed when he saw K-Ling, and even kept showing goodwill, which means that an epic strong man with a respected status like President Wu might not know the existence of Jiaolong Longyun. Thinking of this, Chen Wei couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Then he threw all the remaining ancient books aside, and felt that he had figured out all the truth. He couldn't help but smile. Originally, Chen Wei still had a little concern about K-Ling's ice and fire evolution. But after learning about the effect of Longyun, he suddenly had a wild ambition in his heart. Calling the wind and rain plus heavenly grade ultimate potential plus ice and fire evolution plus Jiaolong Longyun, maybe he really has a chance to create a unique ice and fire magic dragon pet. Forget it, it's useless to think too much. Now it's most important to improve my strength. Chen Wei shook his head, controlled his excitement, and planned to focus all his attention on cultivation and alchemy. There are still 3 months before the National Beast Taming College entrance examination begins. He is determined to get the Nixing Pill, which ranks first in the Zidane University assessment. In order to avoid the limelight from the outside world and quickly improve his strength, Chen Wei practiced hard this time and closed himself off for a month. During this period, Chen Wei consumed a total of 200 medicinal materials for refining the Falling Star Pill and refined 500 Falling Star Pills. Only a dozen of them failed to refine the pill due to minor errors, so that the pill residue he used to fertilize the medicine field every day had many gaps. There was no other way, so Chen Wei had to let K Ling release a large-scale call for winds and rain in the spirit plant space every morning as fertilizer to prevent the high-level spirit medicines on the medicine field from developing poorly. And in this unremitting alchemy, thanks to the powerful gain of the previous immortal dragon blood, his source star cultivation also improved from the middle 3rd stage to the late 3rd stage. Even the Tyrant Dragon secret record has been cultivated to the peak of the 1st level, and it is possible to break through to the next level at any time. Unlike the Tyrant Dragon secret record, which is improving rapidly, Chen Wei's red cloud flame array diagram has made great progress and has a very high success rate in alchemy. Until now, he has been able to draw 5 interlocking red cloud talisman arrays, but it is still at the entry level. In addition to cultivation, Chen Wei also worked hard to produce 2 high-level dragon crystals during this period of time, but the price was that his existing dark circles became heavier, and even the powerful body tempered by the Tyrant Dragon secret record felt a little weak. Bai Luo, come here. Hearing Chen Wei's voice, Bai Luo, who was lying on the sofa playing with his mobile phone, suddenly became energetic. He threw his little hand through the mobile phone on the sofa and ran to Chen Wei. That's right, this month Chen Wei bought a brand new mobile phone for Bai Luo and Yutong, and asked K Ling to teach them how to operate the mobile phone in his free time. Yutong, who has loved sleeping and swallowing fire since childhood, is not very interested in mobile phones. She only watches short videos when she is bored. Occasionally, he would watch videos of natural disasters such as volcanic eruptions or tsunamis in Donghua, and he would play for half an hour at most a day. Bai Luo was different from Yutong. After getting the phone, he immersed himself in the game. He was very good at games like Pet Beast Honor and Alien Beast Alliance. He played with 5 people every night. I don't know where he found his friends. It was not until Chen Wei accidentally saw Bai Luo use Tongshan Jianmu to play a record of 3305 that he realized that Bai Luo's game level was extremely high. I just don't know if his 5-person teammates noticed that the thigh that had been carrying their team was actually a carrot. Chirp, oh, what's wrong? My teammates are still waiting for me. Bai Luo, are you there? Why did you suddenly hang up? Chen Wei looked very strange when he heard the sweet female voice coming from Bai Luo's phone. Good guy, you are a carrot spirit playing games, and you even brought a girl with you. Do you want to finish the game first? Chen Wei pointed at Bai Luo's phone that he had thrown on the sofa. Chirp, business matters are more important. Bai Luo shook his head. In his opinion, Chen Wei's order was more important than the game. Seeing this, Chen Wei had to make a quick decision. It's nothing, just give you 2 high-level dragon crystals. Looking at the 2 light pink crystals glittering on Chen Wei's palm, Bai Luo's eyes lit up slightly, and he quickly pointed at himself with his little finger and asked in surprise. Chirp, give me both. Chapter 193 Dragon absorbs energy. Yet, they're all yours. Seeing Bai Luo's excitement, Chen Wei smiled and nodded. Regardless of the game still going on the phone, Bai Luo picked up 2 dragon crystals with her little hands, opened her mouth directly, threw the pale pink dragon crystals in her hand into her mouth, and swallowed them without even chewing, just like Zhu Beiji eating ginseng fruit. How is it? How do you feel? Chen Wei looked at Bai Luo expectantly. The last time Bai Luo awakened the dragon skill of size Rui, which was very practical. I don't know what powerful dragon skill he can awaken this time. Shiji, the taste has not changed, it's still delicious. Bai Luo gave Chen Wei a thumbs up, then closed his eyes happily, as if savoring it. The next second, Bai Luo subconsciously burst out with a slight attraction. Fortunately, the attraction lasted only for a moment, otherwise most of the furniture in the room would be damaged. Chirp, learned the dragon energy absorption. Bai Luo raised his hands excitedly, wanting to show off his new skills as soon as possible. Chen Wei quickly dissuaded him, don't destroy the furniture, Let's go to the courtyard to test our skills. Hearing this, Bai Luo's mind moved, and he took the Beastmaster to use instant teleportation. Looking at the sudden change in the scene in front of him and Kai Ling, who was immersed in the practice of calling the wind and rain, Chen Wei smiled helplessly. Space skills are convenient. Bai Luo raised his two short hands high, and a little energy light began to appear in the palms of his hands. As time passed, countless lights flashed and gathered into a huge and majestic energy ball with a faint shadow of a dragon swimming on the surface. As the volume of the energy ball continued to grow, a dragon's might that was enough to block the space permeated the courtyard. Even Kai Ling, who was practicing, couldn't help but stagnate, and his light golden pupils stared at the extremely dangerous energy ball. Looking at the huge energy ball in Bai Luo's palm that had expanded to a diameter of tens of meters and the shocking source power fluctuations, a drop of cold sweat slowly flowed down Chen Wei's face. If Bai Luo continued to accumulate power like this, not to mention the courtyard, even the villa he rented would explode. Stop, don't go on, Chen Wei shouted hurriedly. Hearing this, Bai Luo tilted his head to look at Chen Wei, who looked nervous, and then looked up at the energy ball above his head that completely covered his body, with a smile on his face. It was seen that it supported the energy ball with one palm, and the other small hand drew a line beside it, revealing a deep and dark space channel, and then threw the energy ball in its hand into it, and finally decisively closed the space. Looking at Bai Luo's smooth movements as if throwing away garbage, Chen Wei couldn't help wiping the cold sweat from his forehead. Good guy, his home was almost gone. Chirp. This skill is so slow. At this time, Bai Luo showed a trace of disdain on his face. Obviously, he didn't like this skill that required a long time to charge. Besides the slow release speed, how powerful is it? Chen Wei thought of the amazing pressure caused by the giant energy ball just now, and asked subconsciously. Bai Luo thought about it and said with a somewhat uncertain tone. Chirp, the power seems to be very strong, in addition to the long charging time. This skill does not seem to have any obvious shortcomings. Bai Luo even feels that the destructive power of the dragon's energy absorption is unique among the skills it has mastered. That's good. Chen Wei closed the perspective spirit eye and nodded with satisfaction. Skill, Dragon Absorption Energy, Level, 6th Level Dragon and Wood Dual Element Skill, Introduction, condensing the surrounding dragon energy and wood energy into a giant energy ball. The longer the charging time, the higher the damage of the skill. After the skill hits, it will cause a huge all-round damage to the target, ignoring most of the source power shields. Chen Wei frowned slightly as the information about dragon energy absorption flashed through his mind. As far as he knew, the charging time of this skill could be significantly shortened through training, so this shortcoming was not a big deal. But what surprised Chen Wei was that dragon energy absorption should be a dragon skill, but how could it become a dragon and wood dual skill on Bai Luo? Could it be that the dragon skill awakened by the high-level dragon crystal will also change according to the attributes of the pet? Chen Wei thought to himself. After a while, Chen Wei took out the last high-level dragon crystal from the star ring. He originally planned to save this high-level dragon crystal belonging to Kai Ling for evolution. After all, even if Kai Ling learned one more dragon skill, her combat power would not be improved much. Compared with daily practice, the effect of high-level dragon crystal in evolving bloodline is better to be used as a resource for Kai Ling's future advancement or evolution of beasts, which would be more cost-effective. After a month of absorbing and refining the cold dragon's green blood, Kai Ling's strength has been completely stabilized at the middle level of the 3rd level, but even if she used this dragon crystal, it would still be difficult for her to break through to the upper level. However, with Chen Wei's current physical fitness, if he works hard to the limit, he can produce 2 high-level dragon crystals in just 1 month. At present, with 2 months left before the college entrance examination, he can still strengthen 4 high-level dragon crystals. In this way, 5 high-level dragon crystals combined with the strengthening of dragon power can completely improve Kai Ling's strength to the upper level of the 3rd level. It's okay to use one to evolve the dragon bloodline now. Kai Ling, do you want a high-level dragon crystal? Chen Wei shook the light pink crystal in front of Kai Ling. Yeah, okay. Having witnessed Bai Luo's strength, Kai Ling, who is eager to become stronger, will naturally not refuse the dragon crystal that can improve her strength. Chen Wei smiled and said, come on, open your mouth. Perhaps because of the last ambush attack, Kai Ling has been focusing all her energy on cultivation during this period, and even gave up her hobby of painting in her spare time. It is not a good thing to be too tense for a long time, So Chen Wei plans to feed K-Ling himself and let her draw a few pictures. Compared with the K-Ling who only knows how to practice now, he likes the K-Ling who was focused on painting before. Because at that time, K-Ling, who often painted, had a bright and dazzling light in her eyes that Chen Wei admired the most. Staring at the pale pink dragon crystal in the palm of the Beastmaster, K-Ling hesitated for a moment, but thinking that she couldn't even beat the king-level beast now, she still opened her mouth hesitantly. You haven't painted for a long time. Can you draw 2 pictures for us today? After feeding the dragon crystal in his hand into K-Ling's mouth, Chen Wei said softly. Looking at the Beastmaster with a gentle face, K-Ling's expression froze, and then she looked up with disdain. Yes, Cap. Oh, yes. Chapter 194 Painter K-Ling. Unlike last time, K-Ling, who had the experience of refining high-level dragon crystals, directly activated the majestic and surging source power to refine it. At this time, K-Ling's face was full of confidence. Perhaps because of the current great improvement in strength, the high-level dragon crystals that previously required most of their energy to absorb are now like docile sheep, easily releasing and refining the mysterious energy in the dragon crystals. As the mysterious energy is absorbed, K-Ling only feels that the magic core in her mind and the dragon essence hidden in her body are rapidly increasing at a speed visible to the naked eye. And realizing the rapid growth of her strength, K-Ling's petite body can't help but tremble slightly, and a slight joy can't help but hang on her face. Sure enough, it's still because of the blow caused by the king's crushing before, seeing that K-Ling, who has been immersed in hard training recently, finally has some life on her face. Chen Wei can't help but raise the corners of his mouth slightly. What a proud character, you can't keep everything in your heart. Boom. As the refining continued, K-Ling's domineering dragon power filled the entire courtyard, setting off bursts of air explosions. If Chen Wei used the energy glasses to detect at this moment, he would find that the normal energy value emitted by K-Ling was rising rapidly at an astonishing speed, and even broke the limit of the third-level leader race. Unfortunately, although the strength has increased greatly, it is still a short distance away from the third-level upper position. Chen Wei, who is always using the perspective eyes to watch K-Ling, was a little surprised. And it seems that K-Ling did not awaken a new dragon skill this time. On the other side, K-Ling, who realized that the rising energy in her body had tended to be stable, slowly opened her dragon eyes and looked at the Beastmaster with a melancholy expression. A. Greek letter epsilon. 3. No new skills this time. The probability of awakening skills with high-level dragon crystals is only 50%. Not awakening this time does not mean anything. What's more, didn't you awaken 2 skills with only 1 dragon crystal last time? Chen Wei stroked K-Ling's little head and comforted her. Hearing this, Bai Luo, who had awakened the dragon energy absorption skill, also nodded in agreement. Chirp, you want to learn new skills? I can teach you. Looking at the person and pet in front of him, Kaylee's frustration gradually disappeared. By the way, don't forget the painting you promised, K-Ling, Chen Wei said with a smile. Yee, Cap. Oh, I won't forget this. Thinking of painting, K-Ling's eyes lit up slightly. Half an hour later, the floating drawing board in front of K-Ling slowly moved to Chen Wei's hand. Looking at the drawing board in his hand, Chen Wei couldn't help but be slightly stunned, and even Bai Luo and Yutong beside him subconsciously came forward to watch. Chirp, Cyrillic letter deck. The painting is really good, but I shouldn't be that fat, me. It feels like looking in the mirror. On the drawing board, the perfect warm tone brushstrokes and light and shadows depict a warm picture. The Beastmaster lying in the quilt seemed to be sleeping soundly, with a fluffy white ball on the edge of the pillow. The chubby Bai Luo stood aside and covered the sleeping Beastmaster with the quilt. K-Ling, where are you? Chen Wei, who seemed to be unable to find K-Ling's trace, asked with a smile. Here, in your hand. K-Ling stared at Chen Wei with her eyes and shouted angrily. In response, Chen Wei smiled slightly and thought to himself. Yes, I know, you have always been with me. However, the next second, Chen Wei's hand slipped, and the work on the drawing board instantly switched, and an extremely realistic painting suddenly appeared in front of him. Staring at this immersive painting, Chen Wei's body shook, his eyes widened, and there was an unbelievable shock on his face, and then he quickly turned the drawing board over. Afterwards, Chen Wei, who had recovered from his shock, coughed twice and said righteously and seriously, K-Ling, this is too early for you. In order to prevent you from going astray, I will confiscate your drawing board. Just kidding, she is so young and doesn't learn well. She dares to draw these things. As a beast master, I will never allow it. I must criticize and educate her. But to be honest, Ling's talent in painting is a bit too strong. The realism of this picture is really surprising, and even Chen Wei himself can't help but doubt it. Is there really such a charming girl in the world? Seeing Chen Wei's expression suddenly change, the petite Ling pouted and said angrily, "Hey, that's a drawing exercise of human structure, what's the problem?" Looking at Ling in front of him with reason and evidence, Chen Wei was speechless for a while. Yes, the aesthetics of humans and pets are very different. For Ling, perhaps these are just basic exercises. This was just like when he fed gorillas in the zoo in his previous life, and he didn't think it was strange that gorillas were not wearing clothes. But Chen Wei changed his mind and realized that if Ling didn't have good aesthetic sense, she probably wouldn't be able to draw such a sexy, beautiful and impactful painting. Not possible. Seeing Chen Wei lost in thought, Ling continued to ask. Bai Luo and Yu Tuang on the side also looked at Chen Wei curiously. Obviously, like Ling, they didn't think there was anything wrong with the painting just now. Looking at the three pets in front of him with an innocent look on their faces, Chen Wei touched his head awkwardly. Am I really overthinking it? Could this really be just a simple practice? Forget it, I don't care about your own practice works, but you have to pay attention to one thing, don't upload your works to the internet, understand? As soon as the voice fell, Chen Wei naturally put the drawing board in his arms, and then slowly left the hall. Looking at the disappearing figure of the beast master, Ling immediately swung her tail angrily, and even the joy brought by the improvement in strength was reduced a lot. Everyone draws in the same way. How could there be a problem with teacher Keho's tutorial? With this idea in mind, Ling turned her head to look at the two cute pets beside her, and asked in a somewhat stiff tone. Oh Cap, oh, do you think the painting is good? Yu Tong nodded seriously. Me, oh, the big sister draws very well. Exactly the same. Bai Luo hesitated for a while, and finally spoke in a low voice. Chirp, big sister, you drew too exaggeratedly, I am not that fat. Apart from this, everything else is good. Hearing this, Ling immediately looked at the painting brush suspended in the air with confidence. Thinking in her heart, Humph, liar Chen Wei. I will use the brush to record your experience. Quotation mark. Chapter 195 Transformation Source Pill. That day, Chen Wei used his mental power to sense the pill that was about to take shape in the medicine cauldron, with a trace of solemnity on his handsome face. Increase the firepower to condense the pill. When Chen Wei's mind moved, Yu Tong beside him condensed her eyes, and the red gold flame spewing from her mouth suddenly surged, and the temperature in the alchemy room rose sharply. Almost done, under the smoke of the red gold flames, the slightly glowing essence of the medicinal materials in the cauldron smoothly entered the fusion stage. A few minutes later, a soft emerald green light flickered in the medicine cauldron. When the light faded, only a round emerald green forging star pill was left in the cauldron. Forging star pill, a second-level superior pill, a superior pill of the falling star pill. After swallowing and absorbing, it can increase the speed of source power cultivation. Although the speed of source power cultivation increased by this pill is only 2 levels higher than that of the falling star pill, the impurity effect on the source star after taking it is almost reduced by half. Thank you for your hard work, Yu Tong. Upon hearing this, the flame in Yu Tong's mouth disappeared instantly, and then she yawned slightly in boredom. Looking at the forging star pill in front of him, which had failed 10 times before only succeeded once, Chen Wei slowly closed his eyes. Feeling the slight improvement of his eyes under the nourishment of the Dan Qi, he couldn't help but smile with satisfaction on his face. Now that he can refine the forging star pill, which is more difficult among the second-level pills, there is no problem even if he takes the examination for the second Yado Alchemist. However, even the second Yado Alchemist is only a junior alchemist, with a slightly higher status. So now, compared to the alchemist promotion examination, Chen Wei wants to sell the falling star pill he has refined for more than 2 months. That's right, Chen Wei has refined more than 1,200 falling star pills in total during this period, and he has refined 30 of the more difficult upper-level pill forging star pill. If Chen Wei hadn't purchased some seeds of the materials for the falling star pill and planted them himself, and then used Ling's skill of calling the wind and rain to ripen them, the funds for purchasing the alchemy materials alone would be enough to empty his wallet. After Chen Wei put the star forging pills in the cauldron into a special white jade bottle, he walked out of the stuffy alchemy room, followed by Yu Tong. Damn it, is the market in Shushan City so small? Only a few hundred star forging pills have made the pharmacy owner unsaleable. Lying on the sofa, drinking the spiritual water handed over by Luo, and holding K Ling's warm head, Chen Wei sighed helplessly. There was no way. Even if it was a pharmacy, it would not be possible to stock up so many star forging pills. After all, it was not a store specializing in star forging pills. The financial pressure would be very large. The fact that the pharmacy owner could purchase so many star forging pills had exceeded Chen Wei's expectations. Chen Wei took out his mobile phone and looked at it. The star forging pills from the beast taming mall alone had sold millions of orders this month, but he couldn't even sell more than 100 bottles of star forging pills. Some malls do purchase pills, but the pills made by a Yiao pill master like him are at most 50% of the wholesale price. Compared with the purchase price of the pharmacy owner, the difference of 20% alone is more than 20 million star coins. He was really unwilling to accept it. At this moment, Chen Wei's phone vibrated. Chen Wei suddenly had an idea. He looked at the 999 plus chat messages displayed on the Q group chat, Dongho Alchemy Association, and sent a message tentatively. Apprentice Alchemist, boss, I want to sell a batch of falling star pills. Do you have any specific channels to introduce? Hong Ten, how many bottles of falling star pills do you plan to sell? Apprentice Alchemist, 130 bottles, 10 pills per bottle. Base He, I worship the boss, 1,300 falling star pills. It would take me a year to make so many pills. At this time, a girl wearing a red sling looked at the group chat message in her hand, with a look of surprise on her face. She still remembered the idea of Apprentice Alchemist, and it seemed that she had just come into contact with the refining of falling star pills a few months ago. As a result, it has only been a short time, and so many pills have been directly refined. The success rate of this pill refining is really amazing, and it doesn't look like a newcomer at all. Could it be the vest of some boss? No, if he is a big boss, how can he have time to refine so many low-level pills? Hong Ten, I know a medicine merchant, but his purchase price for falling star pill is only 60% of the market price, which is 10% less than your previous selling price. If you want, I can push it to you, Hong Ten. In fact, it is better to find a trusted person to sell it slowly online than selling it wholesale. Although the cycle time for capital return is very long, the income will be higher. Looking at Hong Teng's reply, Chen Wei fell into deep thought. If it is 60%, from a loss of more than 20 million star coins to a loss of more than 10 million, it feels like a small loss. Alchemy Apprentice, thank you, big boss Hong Teng. Then I'll take my time. Looking at the screen of the mobile phone, Chen Wei sighed slowly. In the past, when machines could not refine low-level pills, the pills in his hand alone would cause a large number of merchants to compete for bids, and there would be no worries about selling them. But now is a different era. Although the status of junior alchemists is still respected, it is not as high and untouchable as before. Otherwise, the shop opened by Lao Wang's family would not be able to recruit junior alchemists to take charge. Fortunately, the automated alchemy source device can only attack junior alchemists. The pills made by intermediate and higher alchemists are still hard to find and priceless. White-headed old man, I heard that the latest research result of the alchemy department of Zidane University is the transformation source pill. I have also tried to refine 2 pills recently. Are there any high-level beast masters in the group willing to let their pets try it? As soon as this message came out, the messages that kept scrolling in the group chat stopped immediately. White-headed old man, it's completely free. There is only one chance. Think about it, let your pet turn into a living person. This rare opportunity, do you want to miss it? Shandon, fake, absolutely fake. Hanlian, crazy without a doubt. Expression, Hong Ten, crazy old man. Isn't the news about the transformation source pill a rumor? How can a pet turn into a human? Looking at the topic discussed in the group chat, Chen Wei's pupils suddenly shrank, and then he looked at the 3 pets beside him. Pet transformation. Can this legendary thing really come true? You know, even the legendary immortal demigod cannot transform into human form. Even the few cases in history where heroes and monsters were called beast transformation by beast masters are just rumors, and have not been confirmed by any experts so far. White-headed old man, believe me, the results are already there. Do you know that Dean Lin of Rosewood University refined the transformation source pill by accident? Looking at the questioning information that kept rolling in the group chat, Chen Wei shook his head. Regardless of whether the so-called transformation is true or false, it is still the most important thing to improve your own strength. After all, not all pets want to become humans, and not all beastmasters want their pets to transform into humans, unless the pet can become stronger after the transformation. Chapter 196 Black Gold Auction House. Do I really have to go door to door to sell the falling star pills? Chen Wei thought to himself in distress as he lay on the sofa and gulped down the lengthy water handed to him by Bai Luo. Although there are many drugstores that are as generous as Mr. Zhuan of Yichjiantang, there are definitely not many. At least among the 10 drugstores he found, only 2 of them could buy at a price of 70%, and 5 of them bought at a price of 60%. As for the remaining 3 black-hearted bosses, the price was only 40% to 50%. After a busy day, he only sold 20 bottles of the 120 bottles of falling star pills with a total value of nearly 100 million yuan, earning 14 million star coins, and there were still 100 bottles left in his hands. At this moment, the mobile phone in Chen Wei's pocket began to vibrate. He picked up the phone and glanced at it. The contact displayed on the screen was Yu Zilman. Curious, Chen Wei casually pressed the answer button. The annual auction of the Black Gold Auction House will be held tomorrow night. I wonder if you are interested. Hearing this, Chen Wei was slightly startled. He had heard some news about this famous auction house. The Black Gold Auction House is famous for its medicinal resource transactions and secret bidding, and has even attracted many beastmasters who have shed blood on the tip of a knife. It is said that the power behind this auction house is the Wu family, a beastmaster family in Shushan City. The Wu family is a well-known family of alchemists in Shushan City. The current head of the family, Wu Wenhua, is a master alchemist with a very respected status. He is highly respected and is said to be more than 250 years old. He is also one of the best king-level beastmasters in Shushan City. I have heard of this auction house, but I don't know much about it, Chen Wei said straightforwardly. He was not rich before, and he didn't even enter the door of the Black Gold Auction House, let alone the treasures auctioned inside. Yu Zilman was not surprised by this, and still introduced it with a smile. The main business of the Black Gold Auction House is the auction of elixirs, among which the most famous is the 5th grade top grade elixir, longevity pill, which can increase lifespan by 3 years after being refined. In addition to elixirs this year, the Black Gold Auction House also plans to develop 2 businesses at the same time, pets and source devices. I heard that in order to expand the market and expand its reputation, the Black Gold Auction House is preparing to bring out many treasures this year, even king-level pet cubs. The auction will officially open at 6 o'clock tomorrow night. Are you interested? Hearing about elixirs, Chen Wei immediately became excited. This auction will not be able to buy falling star pills and high-level beast resources. Why is it so difficult for him to even sell the elixirs he refined? To put it bluntly, it is because he knows too few channels and it is difficult to cash in the resources on hand. Among the people Chen Wei knows, the only one who can help him deal with a large number of elixirs is Liu Menging. He can't just sell all the elixirs he refines to his senior sister. Besides, he still lacks most of the resources needed for Yutong's race evolution. If he participates in this auction, he may have the opportunity to gather them directly and expand his own cash-out channels. Hearing this, Yu Zilman couldn't help but reveal a happy smile on her face. She was not afraid that Chen Wei would trouble her with something, but she was afraid that she could not help Chen Wei with his affairs. Level 4 and above beast taming resources can be auctioned directly, but falling star pills may not be allowed. I have a little friendship with the deacon of the auction house. If you want to sell falling star pills, I can help you introduce them. Chen Wei's eyes lit up. Then thank you for your trouble, Yu Zilman immediately said coquettishly. What trouble? If you are so polite again, I will be angry. Then she changed the subject without leaving a trace. Then it's settled. See you at 6 o'clock tomorrow night, Chen Wei. Okay. The Black Gold Auction House is only open to the upper class or strong people in Shushan City. Generally, only beastmasters who have received invitations can participate. At this time, a magnificent luxury car slowly stopped in front of the door of the auction house. Miss Yu, we're here, the driver said respectfully. Looking at the imposing beastmaster guard at the gate, Chen Wei touched the metal mask on his face with some discomfort, and then followed Yu Zilman, who was wearing a rose mask, into the magnificent auction house. In the Black Gold Auction House where secret auctions are popular, wearing a mask can effectively avoid being approached by others. The mask on Chen Wei's face was specially prepared by Yu Zilman. This way, please, The beautiful receptionist standing at the door walked in front and led the way, taking Chen Wei and Yu Zilman directly to the third floor. The space on the first floor of the auction house is extremely wide, and the interior decoration is also very high-end. The huge screen used to display treasures is hung on the wall. It is the main venue of the auction. On the second floor, a large number of precious beast resources are displayed, and each counter with independent beast resources is guarded by a beastmaster. The third floor here is a series of exquisite and luxurious independent boxes, specially provided to VIPs participating in the auction to ensure that no one can disturb the VIPs' bidding. The Yu family is one of the best beast-controlling families in Shushan City. Although Yu Zilman cannot represent the Yu family, as a direct descendant, she is naturally qualified to book an independent private room on the third floor of the Black Gold auction house. Sitting on a luxurious sofa, Chen Wei can see the elegant and exquisite main venue below. Yu Zilman, the finale auction on the first floor will officially start after 8 o'clock, and now only the dark auction on the second floor is going on. The so-called dark auction means bidding in secret. The beast-controlling resources listed on the second floor are all auctioned in a dark auction, which starts at 6 o'clock and lasts for 1.5 hours. If there are auction items on the second floor that you like, bidders only need to fill in the specific price or beast-controlling resources and private room number at that counter. The highest bidder wins. After the dark auction time is over, the Black Gold auction house will send the beast-controlling resources that have been auctioned to the private room with the highest bid and settle the account. Except for the auction house, no one else can know who has auctioned the resources, which has extremely high confidentiality. It is precisely because the Black Gold auction house keeps bidders' information completely confidential, has an excellent reputation, and has a good reputation, coupled with the resources provided by the Wu family behind it, that it can stand out from the crowd of auction houses and become a terrifying gold-eating monster. Knock, knock, there was a knock on the door. Come in, said Yu Zilman. The next second, a middle-aged man in a suit, dressed like a gentleman, pushed open the door of the private room and walked in with a professional smile on his face. This man was Wu Chenggen, the steward and appraiser of the Black Gold auction house. Welcome to the Black Gold auction. I wonder what items you want to appraise and bid. These are the ones on the table, Chen Wei replied. The star ring on his finger flashed, and hundreds of white jade bottles and 4 shining stones appeared on this expensive table. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 197 Talent Fluctuation. Looking at the piles of items on the table, Wu Chenggen blinked in confusion, and glanced at Yu Zilman and Chen Wei wearing masks. Wow, there are so many falling star pills. Could it be that this alchemist only refines falling star pills? However, Yu Zilman was also a little surprised at this time. She looked at the large number of pills on the table and her red lips opened slightly. She thought that Chen Wei only sold a dozen bottles of falling star pills at most, but she didn't expect that she underestimated Chen Wei's ability in the end. It's okay that the source star is fast in cultivation, and it's understandable that the pet beast is strong, but you can refine so many pills in just a few months. What can't you do as a demon? Yu Zilman looked at Chen Wei with a little more awe and surprise. Wu Chenggen didn't think much about it. There are many weird alchemists, and the one in front of him is not bad. He picked up a white jade bottle and sniffed it after opening the bottle cap. First grade top grade falling star pill, good quality. Then he picked up the pill certification on the table and took a look. His originally calm expression suddenly changed slightly. Chen Wei, an 18-year-old junior alchemist. No wonder he can be friends with Miss Yu. Although the status of junior alchemists is not as high as before, the meaning of an 18-year-old junior alchemist is different. You know, even the young master of the Wu family became a junior alchemist at the age of 20. What's more, the new beast master who won the first place in the Hanyang province beast taming competition this year is also called Chen Wei. He is not stupid. There are not so many geniuses with the same name in Shushan City. This is clearly the same person. Both beast taming and alchemy are gifted. If such a rare monster cannot break through to the king in the future, he will be the first to disbelieve it. Absolutely can't offend. It's better to have some friendship. This idea instantly came to Wu Chenggen's mind. Even if Chen Wei rejected the family's investment invitation, The Wu family still didn't dare to rashly offend a genius of this level, let alone him, a small auction house steward. Thinking of this, Wu Chenggen gritted his teeth and his tone became a little more flattering. Generally, the market price of a good quality falling star pill is around 120,000, and the purchase price of the auction house is 90,000. Do you think it is suitable? Within his authority, this is already the highest price he can offer. As for a higher price, he needs to ask his superiors. However, if he can pass on the amazing news of Chen Wei's dual mastery of beast control and medicine refining to the family in time, he may even get a reward from the family. Hearing this, Chen Wei was slightly stunned. This purchase price is much higher than he expected. There are only 40 bottles of good quality falling star pills here, and the remaining 60 bottles are ordinary quality pills, Wu Chenggen said without hesitation. The market price of ordinary falling star pills is 100,000, and the purchase price is 70,000. Do you think it's okay? Chen Wei immediately smiled and said, "Thank you very much, Deacon." He had long noticed the change in the attitude of the deacon in front of him, and the purchase price given by the auction house was definitely not low. When he thought of the 78 million star coins he got from the sale of this batch of falling star pills, Chen Wei felt a little excited. Next, Wu Chenggen identified the Puppet's Brilliant Stone, Puppet's Power Core, Sharp Gold Stone, and Swordsman's Incomplete Source Stone on the table as level 4 beast taming resources and sent them to the private room for a secret auction before leaving. Not bad, Master Alchemist. Seeing this big deal being made, Yu Zilman smiled and teased. Master Alchemist, stop joking. Thanks to your introduction, I'll treat you to supper tonight. Chen Wei smiled. Yu Zilman opened her red lips slightly, and said with some regret, "It's just a midnight snack." Chen Wei looked at Yu Zilman seriously. "The midnight snack is not enough, then what do you want?" Yu Zilman smiled and said, "I want you." Hearing this, Chen Wei immediately distanced himself from Yu Zilman, and said in a teasing tone, "No way, I treat you as a friend, you actually want to." Yu Zilman looked at Chen Wei, who was trying to change the subject in a funny way, and said with a smile, "Can you listen to me finish my words? I want you to help me exchange for the perfect star concentrating pill. You won't forget this, right?" "How could I forget?" Chen Wei responded immediately. Yu Zilman stood up as if nothing had happened. "That's good, let's go to the auction house on the second floor to take a look. Maybe there will be some good beast control resources." Walking on the road, feeling the rapid beating of her heart, Yu Zilman glanced at Chen Wei beside her and thought to herself, "It seems it's too early." The space on the second floor is divided into multiple areas according to the attributes and types of beast control resources. At this time, Chen Wei and Yu Zilman walked into an ice attribute counter. The beast control resources that can enter the secret bidding stage are at least level 4 or above. Looking at the large number of ice-type beast control resources placed in the counter, Chen Wei fell into deep thought. Ice Crystal Iron, One-Hand Marrow Crystal, Frost Aura, Hardware Cold Stone, Cold Crystal Frost Sand. Specific information will be noted on these ice-type beast control resources, and there is no possibility of picking up leaks. Isn't this Cold Crystal Frost Sand the beast control resource that Yin Twixin will use in the Ice and Fire Dragon experiment? I didn't expect to encounter the ice-type resources that were not obtained in Yin Twixin's star ring here. Chen Wei, who was interested, took a card directly from the counter, wrote the price of 20 million star coins and the room number, and put it in the box in front of the Cold Crystal Frost Sand. In addition to the Cold Crystal Frost Sand, Chen Wei also took a fancy to an Ice Flame Crystal Flower, which was also a level 5 resource required for the Ice and Fire Dragon experiment. He quoted a price of 15 million star coins. Afterwards, Chen Wei said something to Yu Zilman, who was immersed in shopping, and left the ice area and went straight to the fire area. There was no way, Yutong was still missing most of the evolutionary resources. At this time, on the counter in the fire area, a level 5 commander level magic core of a purple light crystal tiger attracted Chen Wei's attention. Compared with the commander level magic core he had seen in the beast taming mall before, the magic core of this purple light crystal tiger seemed to be more suitable for Yutong, but the level 5 magic core was generally the most expensive type of level 5 resources. Chen Wei thought about it and finally quoted a symbolic price of 25 million. After all, the crystal system is rare. If he can buy it at this price, he will make a profit. If he can't buy it, it means that this magic core is not destined for Yutong. As for the remaining Fire Essence Black Crystal and 100 Years of Refining Crystal, He quoted the value of 8 million and 6 million star coins respectively. It's really like spending money like water, Chen Wei sighed, feeling that the speed at which he made money could not keep up with the speed at which he spent money, and then planned to go to the wood area. After all, Kailing and Yutong's resources were bought, and Bailuo's resources were certainly not to be missed. However, the next second, an inexplicable sense of familiarity and the strange fluctuations of the power of the dragon suddenly came from his mind. Chen Wei's eyes suddenly looked in surprise in the direction of the power of the dragon. What is that? Congratulations to Hunluo Fan Chen for becoming the first deacon of this book, and thank you all for your recent voting support. Chapter 198 The Secret World. High-level dragon resources, Chen Wei thought subconsciously. You know, the power of the dragon on his source star will not fluctuate casually unless a high-level special dragon treasure appears. This is a fire area, not a dragon area. Can I still find a bargain at the auction? With this thought in mind, Chen Wei continued to move forward following the familiar feeling from the power of the dragon. A moment later, he stopped at a counter where fire ores were placed. Chen Wei's curious eyes swept over the fire resources stored in the transparent counter one by one, and finally his eyes stopped on a gray stone. Yes, this is it. Sensing the eagerness of the power of the dragon on the source star, Chen Wei finally determined the target. It was a shiny black stone with a fine texture and a somewhat strange shape. The whole stone had many grooves, and it seemed to shine with metallic light like a diamond black gold fire rock, a level 4 fire and earth dual element beast taming resource, a special fire rock formed by the change of volcanic lava, containing extremely violent fire source power and thick and steady earth source power. It can be absorbed and refined in daily practice to improve the pet's immunity to fire and greatly enhance its physical fitness. Chen Wei looked at the pure black and elegant black gold fire rock on the counter, and a trace of doubt flashed in his eyes. The level 4 beast taming resources that can be auctioned secretly by the black gold auction house are of very good quality, especially the large piece of black gold fire rock in front of him now, which is of perfect quality. But what puzzled Chen Wei was how could the level 4 beast taming resources of the fire and earth dual elements cause fluctuations in the dragon taming power? Even a level 4 dragon resource would hardly cause fluctuations in his dragon taming power now, not to mention that the black gold fire rock is not a dragon resource. Could it be that there is something hidden in this black gold fire rock? With this thought in mind, Chen Wei looked around inconspicuously and found that there were not many beast tamers watching the auction nearby at this time, only a few. Then the faint golden light began to flicker slowly between his eyes, and Chen Wei directly activated the perspective spiritual eyes that could see through most things. I can't see the inside of this black gold fire rock, I can only see the pure fire and earth dual energy. Chen Wei frowned slightly. Unlike the identification ability of the perspective spiritual eyes, the perspective ability of the spiritual eyes will decrease or even fail due to the obstruction and protection of the source power. For example, Liu Menging once used the majestic mental power to isolate her perspective ability. With his current third-level source star cultivation, the perspective spiritual eyes driven by his current third-level source star cultivation, even if he can't completely see the internal situation of the fourth-level beast resource, he can vaguely see some of it. However, now he can't even observe a trace of the internal situation of the black gold fire rock, which makes Chen Wei's curiosity even more vigorous. He took out his mobile phone from his pocket and searched the specific price of the black gold fire rock in the Beast Mall. The recent transaction price of the black gold volcano rock is around 6 million, and the quality of this black gold volcano rock is extremely perfect. So the price may reach 9 million, or even 10 million. Thinking of this, Chen Wei used his clairvoyant eyes to look at the box in front of the counter. He didn't use his clairvoyant eyes to peek at the bid list in the box before because it was not worth breaking the rules. After all, it didn't matter if those beast control resources were not auctioned, and he wouldn't bid a higher price, but the mysterious black gold volcano rock in front of him was obviously different. 7 million, 7.8 million, 8 million, 12 million, 13 million, 15 million, wow. This group of beast control masters who participated in the secret auction really didn't regard star coins as money. A black gold volcano rock was actually bid up to 15 million star coins. This price can almost buy 3 of them in the beast control mall. It seems that there are many capable beast control masters participating in this auction, and he is not the only one who discovered the strangeness of this black gold volcano rock. To be on the safe side, Chen Wei thought about it and directly quoted a price of 18 million star coins, thinking that he should be able to win. If he was not afraid of arousing the suspicion of the auction house, he would even want to quote a higher price to avoid being surpassed by others. After all, according to Chen Wei's experience, the beast resources that can cause fluctuations in the power of the dragon are not rare treasures that can be purchased with star coins. Chen Wei put the bid form in his hand into the box, and then turned around and walked towards the wood area without any nostalgia. The competition for the black gold fire rock is a bit fierce. It seems that I need to come here again before the secret auction ends, so as not to be intercepted by others. Wood area. Chen Wei looked at the various exotic flowers and plants on the counter, and his eyes could not help but reveal a bit of love, but compared to those mature top-grade spiritual medicines, he was more interested in the seeds of these spiritual medicines. After all, the ability of K Ling to ripen the spiritual field by calling the wind and rain every day cannot be wasted, and that is all golden wealth. Chen Wei only needs to plant low-level spiritual medicine seeds in the spiritual plant space, and he will be able to welcome a good harvest in a dozen days. For example, the raw materials for the falling star pill that he is currently refining are basically all supplied by Bai Luo's planting and K Ling's daily ripening. Otherwise, the financial pressure of purchasing the spiritual medicines needed for the falling star pill alone would crush Chen Wei's wallet in an instant, and the profit margins that can be obtained from refining pills would not be as abundant as they are now. After selecting dozens of spiritual medicine seeds suitable for planting in the spiritual plant space, Chen Wei focused his attention on the two spiritual plants on the counter that he was most interested in, namely the Biksha Bamboo and the Narcissus Spirit Core. Biksha Bamboo, a level 5 wood-based beast resource. A fully mature Biksha Bamboo can breed a Biksha source of energy that can slightly improve the quality of spiritual medicines through the energy of the nearby spiritual medicines breathing in and out of the source. It is also the main evolutionary resource for the Transcendent Commander Biksha Bamboo Bear, Narcissus Spirit Core, a level 5 wood and water dual system beast resource. The Narcissus Spirit Core can improve the water quality of the rivers and lakes where it lives. If the Narcissus Spiritual Core is bred in groups, it can even sublimate ordinary river water into first-class spiritual water. After swallowing its spiritual core, it can wash away the impurities of the Beastmaster's source star, or be used to improve the spiritual power of the pet. These two spiritual plants are definitely good gifts for Bai Luo, who likes to farm on weekdays. Thinking of this, Chen Wei gritted his teeth and quoted 18 million star coins for the former and 21 million star coins for the latter. Fortunately, the two spiritual plants in front of him have obviously not reached maturity yet and need to be transplanted for growth and development, so the value is low, and the price he offered should be able to get it. No money, Chen Wei couldn't help but sigh. The large amount of funds that had just been received today were gone before they were even warm. If all the Beastmaster resources that were auctioned earlier could be won, the hundreds of millions of funds in his star coin account would be swept away, and there would not even be funds for the subsequent purchase of the spiritual plant seeds needed for the falling star pill. Chapter 199, Frost and Ice Spider. I hope the 4 beast-controlling resources I sent for auction can be sold at a high price, so that I can get some money back. Glancing at the beast-controlling resources around him with a little reluctance, Chen Wei returned to the private room on the 3rd floor. There was no way. All the star coins in his account had been spent. Even if he encountered resources that met his requirements later, he could not afford them. In the end, it would only add a few more troubles to himself. It was better to keep it out of sight and out of mind. Haven't you come back yet? Looking at the empty luxurious private room in front of him, Chen Wei chose to close his eyes and meditate. There was still an hour before the main event of the auction began, and the remaining free time was just right for cultivation. Time passed slowly, and the door of the private room quietly opened at some point. Buzz buzz buzz, the alarm clock set by Chen Wei rang. It seems that the dark auction stage is about to end. Chen Wei finished his practice, turned off the alarm clock on his mobile phone in his pocket, and then slowly opened his eyes. The first thing that caught his eye was indeed a pair of beautiful eyes with spirit and spirit. Yu Zilman smiled and said, "No wonder your source star cultivation is so strong. It's fine at ordinary times, but now you don't even let go of your free time at the auction." Hearing this, Chen Wei smiled helplessly, a smile of poverty. This opportunity is rare. If his pockets had not been emptied, he would probably still be looking for beast resources suitable for 3 pets on the 2nd floor. How could he still be practicing in the private room now? "I'm going to the bathroom." Chen Wei stood up and said. He missed a mysterious black gold fire rock a lot. Looking at Chen Wei's hurriedly leaving back, Yu Zilman was slightly stunned. This high-end private room has not only a bathroom, but also an entertainment hall and a bedroom. This excuse is too bad. After a while, Chen Wei returned to the private room. His face was expressionless, but his heart was full of excitement. That's right, seeing the staff take away the box containing the quotation sheet with his own eyes, Chen Wei can be sure that his bid is the highest. Just as Chen Wei and Yu Zilman were chatting and waiting, a slight knock was heard at the door of the private room. It was still the familiar Deacon Wu, and behind him were two staff members pushing a small cart filled with exquisite jade boxes. At this time, Wu Chenggen said respectfully, "Mr. Chen, miss you, these are the beast control resources you secretly bid for. All the beast control resources you sent for bidding have been sold. Here are the detailed information." After receiving the price list handed over by Wu Chenggen with both hands, Chen Wei's eyes suddenly lit up. This time, except for the Fire Essence Mysterious Crystal and the 100 Years Refining Crystal, all other beast control resources he participated in the auction were successfully bid for, with a total price of 117 million star coins. As for the goods sent for bidding, the auction prices of the Puppet's Brilliant Stone, the Puppet's Source Core, and the Sharp Gold Stone were 6.6 million, 8.5 million, and 9.7 million star coins respectively, which were all within his expectations. But what surprised Chen Wei the most was that the Swordmaster Heritage Source Stone, which he had not cared about before, was sold at the highest price, with an auction price of up to 15 million star coins. In this way, after deducting the 10% handling fee required for the auction, the four resources alone earned him 27 million star coins. After confirming that the beast resource auction was genuine, Chen Wei directly paid 90 million star coins, and then put all the resources on the card into the star ring. Fortunately, there are still more than 30 million star coins left in the account, and there is enough money to complete Yutong's evolution. Looking at the balance displayed on the phone, Chen Wei smiled with satisfaction, and then turned to look at Yu Zilman, who was counting the auction items. Yu Zilman is worthy of being a famous rich woman in Shushan No. 1 middle school. The beast resources she auctioned almost filled up the staff's cart. You have to know that the auction items that can participate in the secret auction are all beast resources above level 4. If this large number of resources is not worth 500 million or 600 million star coins, Chen Wei himself doesn't believe it. That's enough. Yu Zilman waved her hand, signaling the staff in the private room to leave, and then smiled and said to Chen Wei, "The next auction is the highlight, and every item that can be auctioned is a treasure. By the way, do you have enough star coins? If you encounter an item you like but don't have enough star coins, I can help you buy it. For the sake of our friendship, I won't charge you any interest." Chen Wei, the most famous beast control genius in Shushan City, refused to be recruited by all the beast control forces in Shushan City. She still knew this shocking news. In Yu Zilman's opinion, Chen Wei's choice was not wrong. After all, Shushan City is still too small. Even to put it bluntly, the beast control forces in Shushan City are just small fish and shrimps compared to the real beast control families. There are only a few king-level beast control masters who can be called beast control masters. With Chen Wei's monstrous talent, as long as he doesn't die midway, when he graduates from Rosewood University, he can easily rise to a high position, whether he joins the army or joins the Beast Taming Association. But this choice also has a disadvantage, that is, Chen Wei can get too few resources in the early stage. If you were to replace a Beastmaster with less monstrous talent, it would be easy for him to be lost in the crowd due to lack of training resources. Chen Wei smiled and said, "You borrowed so much money, aren't you afraid that I can't pay it back?" Hearing this, Yu Zilman looked at Chen Wei seriously. "If you don't have money, you can pay it back with your body. Anyway, you can definitely pay it back, Chen Wei. Pay with your body, don't think about it wrongly. With your title of first place in the Hanyang Province Beast Taming Competition, you will definitely not lack resources as long as you want to join a force. You should understand what I mean." Yu Zilman rolled her eyes at Chen Wei. If she didn't know that the Yu family's qualifications were not enough and couldn't offer a sufficiently attractive price, she actually wanted Chen Wei to join the Yu family. The second round of auctions is about to begin. Chen Wei decisively changed the subject. Unlike the first round of secret auctions, this round of auctions was also conducted by the bidder who paid the most, but the price was put on the table. And bidders were even allowed to use high-level beast resources to participate in the auction. However, auctions of this level were generally based on star coins, and high-level beast resources were rarely exchanged, unless the seller had special requirements. At this time, the first item that had just been auctioned made the atmosphere in the venue become heated. It was a young cub of the Transcendent Commander level, Frost Spider. As a pet of both ice and insect, the only flaw of the Frost Spider was its extremely slow speed, but its racial skill, the Ice Net Field, was extremely powerful. As a special field strengthening skill, the Ice Net Field, if used well, the Frost Spider could defeat powerful beasts of higher levels, and even fight against many alone. However, Chen Wei used his penetrating spiritual eyes to look at the aptitude and potential of the Frost Spider and instantly lost interest. Chapter 200, Crazy Dragon. The host of the second round of the Black Gold auction was a slender and charming woman, Wu Huayu, a famous master beast master of the Wu family. At this time, Wu Huayu was introducing the general information of this commander-level cub, name of pet, Frost-Scented Ice Spider, racial level, Transcendent Commander, racial skills, Spider Web Field, extreme frost compared to other commander-level cubs. This Frost-Scented Ice Spider's qualifications are a little worse, but its personality is extremely gentle, and it is definitely not difficult to conclude a Beastmaster contract. Even a high-level Beastmaster may be able to complete the contract. If you want to have a talented Beastmaster in your family, you can't miss it, Wu Huayu introduced lightly. The starting price of this pet is 100 million star coins, and the increment is 1 million. As soon as Wu Huayu finished speaking, someone bid for the auction the next second. 110 million, 120 million, 125 million. In just a moment, the price of this commander-level cub on the big screen soared to 128 million star coins. There are so many rich people, Chen Wei sighed in his heart. This is a yellow-grade low-grade cold-weather ice spider cub. It has not even learned its own racial skill, ice poison corrosion. Obviously, its ice-related compatibility is relatively average, and it can even be said to have a aptitude deviation. In Chen Wei's opinion, the potential of this ice spider is only yellow-grade low-grade, which can basically be said to be the bottom of the commander-level pets. Despite this, the starting price of this cold-weather ice spider still reached 100 million, which is the gold content of the commander-level race cub. Looking at the crystal-clear ice spider, Yu Zilman's eyes lit up slightly, and she seemed to be interested. In addition to the cold jade snake, do you have any ideas about the ice-related cold-weather ice spider? Seeing Yu Zilman looking at the ice spider cub at the main venue with interest, Chen Wei couldn't help but remind her. The aptitude of this frost-emitting ice spider is not just a little bit worse, as the host said. It's okay that it has poor compatibility with the ice element, but its potential is only at the lower yellow rank. Hearing this, Yu Zilman looked at Chen Wei beside her in surprise. Although she knew that Chen Wei's awakened innate talent was identification, it was really a bit outrageous that he could come to a conclusion on potential identification in such a short time without personally touching the pet and conducting detailed tests. Yu Zilman came back to her senses and glanced at the colorful spirit on Chen Wei's wrist, and explained with a smile, compared to this ice spider, I still like the cold jade snake more. Before I successfully contract the cold jade snake, I will not leave the second contract position for other ice pets. During the casual chat with Yu Zilman, the ice spider cub was finally sold at a price of 250 million. Don't you think it's strange that a lower yellow rank commander level cub can be sold at such a high price? Yu Zilman suddenly said. Chen Wei nodded slightly. I am a little confused indeed. Yu Zilman's eyes darkened. Do you know how many times I failed to contract the cold jade snake? Chen Wei answered uncertainly. 3 times. I bought a total of 6 cold jade snake cubs with good qualifications, but all the contracts failed. Yu Zilman looked at Chen Wei with a bit of envy. The higher the qualifications of the pet cubs, the higher the spirit, and the more difficult it is to contract with a Beastmaster. To a certain extent, high-race pets that can easily sign a contract with a Beastmaster can be said to be quite rare, and the price is naturally high. Some pet cubs with high potential would rather choose death than to sign a contract with a Beastmaster who despises them. The cold jade snake and the cold ice spider are both of this difficult type. Of course, this type of pet cubs are relatively rare. There are still many pet cubs that are gentle and easy to contract, and they are very powerful after evolution. Hearing this, Chen Wei was slightly startled. He who has the power of dragon control seems to have never encountered such a contract failure. Even if Bai Luo, whose strength has reached the level of a 7th-order overlord, has reached a minimum standard for his source star to sign a beast-controlling contract with it, he will most likely choose to agree readily, without any arrogance of an epic overlord. So, in fact, I envy you for being able to successfully contract the cold jade snake. Yu Zilman tilted her head and looked at the auction items that were being sold one by one at the venue. I believe you can do it too, Chen Wei said seriously, looking at Yu Zilman, whose back was a little lonely. Hearing this, Yu Zilman turned around, and her clear and bright eyes suddenly curved. Yes, I think so too. If the second order source star is not good, then the third order, and if the mental power is not enough, then practice meditation to improve, and what I, Yu Zilman, want to accomplish will definitely succeed. After all, the cold jade snake can evolve into the extremely rare ice, galaxy and mental 3 system brilliant king race, Liushuingsing python. Next, Chen Wei saw many rare treasures that he had never heard of or seen before. The price of each auction item was extremely high, and the remaining 30 million star coins in his account could not even participate in the bidding. On the contrary, Yu Zilman bought a heritage source stone containing the 5th level ice skill, Ice Rain, during this period, and the transaction price was 60 million star coins. Next, it is one of the finale items of this auction. Wu Zhuai waved her right hand, and the lights of the main venue were immediately focused on the luxurious long table in front of her. A glimmer of light flashed between her fingers, and a jade plate suddenly appeared on the long table, and on the jade plate was a dark heritage source stone. Under the light, this heritage source stone flashed with a charming and mysterious light. The heritage source stone of the 6th level dragon skill, Crazy Dragon Rampage, can be used 3 times in total. The starting price is 1 billion star coins, and the bid increment is 10 million star coins each time, Wu Zhuayu said excitedly. Skill, Crazy Dragon Rampage, Level, 6th Order Dragon System, Introduction. After using this skill, the pet will immediately enter the rampage state, and its own strength, speed, physique and source energy will increase significantly, and it will ignore most abnormal states. As soon as the 4 words Crazy Dragon Rampage came out, the atmosphere of the auction venue suddenly became silent. Whether it is high-level beast resources or source instruments, they can generally only be used alone. Although they are very important to the beast family, they are not as valuable as the skill Inheritance Source Stone. Because if high-level skills can reach the perfect level, the pet can be engraved with perfect level skill knowledge in batches through the Inheritance Source Stone, so that it can be passed down from generation to generation, allowing more family pets to comprehend, learn and improve the skill, and eventually become a unique secret skill of the family. What's more, the auction house is auctioning the rarest 6th Order Dragon System skills at this time. This kind of treasure that can greatly increase the strength of one's own pet and family will not be missed by any king-level dragon master. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.